Happy Thursday to you. National Football Show. What a day. What a 24 hours for the Philadelphia Eagles. National Football League. What a game tonight. I think it's a must win for the Buccaneers tonight. You want to make a statement telling people that you're really relevant still in the NFC? You can't go to 3-5. You could still be in the race, but you can't go to 3-5. By the way, Big Sills has found that Howie Roseman is still working the phones. Many of you said yesterday, do you think Howie's done, Big Sills? I said no. And we're going to hit on some of those. What a day yesterday, 24 hours after the Robert Quinn move. We'll tell you the impact we think he has on the Eagles as quick as Sunday against the Steelers. There's no question about it, though. My question is going to still be Jonathan Gannon. My question so much so isn't, is Robert Quinn going to be somebody that could be impactful to the Eagles this coming season? My question is going to be, how is Jonathan Gannon going to use him? I'm still not sold, and I'm probably never going to be sold that this defensive coordinator is not Jim Johnson. Can you imagine Jim Johnson with this talent? Could you imagine Buddy Ryan with the Eagle defensive talent? I'll give you a better one. Can you imagine Dan Quinn with the Eagle talent? What would that D coordinator do? Shit, I'll even give you one simpler. What would Wade Phillips do? What would any good D coordinator, what would Raheem Morris do with the Rams with this talent? I'm just not sold on Jonathan Gannon. I probably never will be. No question about it. Still potential moves. I want to get to those. Still potential moves that are going to be made. Yesterday, we landed, as we were speaking, on Robert Quinn. We told you that Howie Roseman, by the way, I'm going to give you a little bit more history on why the deal didn't happen for Christian McCaffrey, and it's something that Xander Krause said. Xander told me this, hey, Sills, we have 2 second-round draft choices. Then he came back and he went, hey, man, just a correction and just for your notes, it's not in 2023, it's in 2024. Howie wanted to make one of those picks to try to get Robert Quinn and try to get the ability to be able to make that move. They wanted to be able to do that. And guess what? They were never able to do that because they wanted to make one of those picks in 2024. Just so you know, that's why that deal didn't happen with Christian McCaffrey. So again, that possibility there, again, of the whole scenario going down, he tried to get Christian McCaffrey. He tried to go out and get McCaffrey. And it just wasn't going to happen. So 2024, they wanted to use one of those picks, and I'm talking the Eagles. And that was just not going to happen. Okay, so here are some of the projections and some of the conversations that Howie has targeted still before we get to November 1st. These are still potential moves that Howie Roseman can make for this football team to create some depth. Are you ready? Okay. Chuck Clark, you'll see him tonight. Safety, Ravens. I haven't been able to find out the compensation on what the Ravens would want for him. But Chuck Clark, safety, has been targeted by the Philadelphia Eagles as a potential move to try to get him into an Eagle uniform. Obviously, they're still looking to upgrade that position because they don't feel comfortable with the depth. I'll tell you something else, too, that's pretty evident here. The Philadelphia Eagles believe right now that they are in the mix for the Super Bowl and they can win it. You clearly have to go here and understand Philly believes they can win it this year. They believe they can win it. Chuck Clark, I have not been able to find out the compensation, though. Kareem Hunt, they made another call last night. They've offered a third and a fourth for Hunt. Yesterday, it was a third and a fifth for Kareem Hunt, the running back for the Browns. And by the way, it's a contingency pick on that fifth, potentially becoming a fourth. So, at the end of the day, they are still targeting Kareem Hunt. Tavarius Moore, safety, 49ers, made another call to John Lynch. Talked to John Lynch last night. Fifth rounder, 2023, that is holding pat. Here is the new name to the mix. Darrell Williams, running back, Cardinals. I have not been able to find out the compensation for Williams. But Williams and Steve Keim and Howie Roseman are all in the loop that potentially he could be moved to the Philadelphia Eagles. Darrell Williams, running back. They played the Cardinals already. Obviously, they get DeAndre Hopkins back. And Steve Keim's looking for more draft choices. So, just to recap here. Chuck Clark, safety, Ravens. Kareem Hunt, running back, Browns. Tavarius Moore, safety, 49ers. And Darrell Williams, running back, Cardinals. Now, I'm not sitting here suggesting to you that there are not more names out there. This is just what I know, and I'm sure Howie has been burning the phone lines up. But these are just some of the names. You know, we mentioned Alvin Kamara, and I had a great conversation yesterday afternoon with Mickey Loomis. I've known Mickey Loomis probably for 25 years. Mickey Loomis did some work, obviously, in the World League, and that's where we go back. We go back that far. And I have known him for a long time. And he's one of the brilliant general managers, in my opinion, in the NFL. He is an absolutely great team builder. They need a quarterback. That is a number one priority for that football team. And you could see some of their assets being moved as we get closer to next week, November 1st. Alvin Kamara would command a pretty penny. Alvin Kamara came out publicly talking about, hey, I'm tired of losing. Is that a smoke signal that he's been informed that potentially he could be moved? He made that comment either late yesterday or early this morning that I'm tired of losing. Personally, I think he's been informed that there's a potential he could be moved. So end of the day here, Alvin Kamara, what would he command? He's 27 years of age. He's a pass-catching freak. Alvin Kamara on that Eagle team, I think it puts you in the conversation with the Bills as the best roster in the league. Even with the quarterback differential between Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, that whole group of talent around Jalen Hurts would be better than what I think Josh Allen has. I don't really think Josh Allen has a running game. Hey, for the record, the Bills are in the conversation too for Kareem Hunt. But again, I mean, you don't really like to see AFC trading partners, especially when you know what's coming up on the horizon here. What's coming up on the horizon for the Cleveland Browns is Deshaun Watson. You want to put as much assets around him. Now, at the end of the day, bottom line here is this too. They're going to put draft choices because they need another wide receiver on the other side of Amari Cooper. And they're going to try to do everything they can to continue to build the football team around Deshaun Watson. A lot of these football teams need picks. Carolina needs picks. That's why they asking a king's ransom for Brian Burns. There's some teams actually out there that are willing to give 2 first-rounders up, but not in the same year. You know, Howie's not going to go, yeah, here's a 4 and a 32 for Brian Burns. That, to me, Brian Burns is a great player, but I'm not surrendering that. I'm not surrendering that. I may give you the 32nd pick and a number 2 in 2024, but I'm not giving you my first 2 rounders for Brian Burns. That's not working for me because I have an opportunity to parlay that as we get into the April draft of 2023. I'm not doing anything near that. Okay? Montgomery's a good back in Chicago, and I like him too. I like his story. I liked him when he was at Iowa State. Send New Orleans their first-round pick back to them. That's a number 4 pick for Alvin Kamara? Michael? No way. No way. No way am I surrendering that 4th pick for Alvin Kamara at 27. Not happening. At best, I would give you the 32nd pick. At best. Okay? Philiopolis, this isn't me. This is Howie. These are Howie's calls. Okay? I called DeCosta. I called Kareem Hunt's agent. I talked to John Lynch. I talked to Steve Kahn. I've known these men 30 years. 30 years I've known these men. I do think the majority of these football teams are going to wait. Okay? I believe they're going to wait as we get closer to November 1. I know. I see the internet again. Hopefully it'll come around here. If not, we're going to take a short time out here because I want it to come back. So, look, I'm going to tell you flat out here. I think that Kareem Hunt is the target. Okay, Kareem Hunt's the target. But I believe that their wish list is Alvin Kamara. I've been saying Alvin Kamara now for 3 days. Okay? That helmet must be in the area. No, the helmet is gone, dude. Trust me. It's nowhere near my computer. Abanya Sills, I would get rid of the 32nd pick for Alvin Kamara. Me too. I would too. I might even give him another quality pick. By the way, that 4th pick that Robert Quinn was given up for, that's not a shit pick. 4th pick, that's a player that you could bring into your room and get a starter with. I agree. Danny. I think Alvin Kamara is the target. I completely agree with you. Any of these guys here float your boat here? Besides Hunt, obviously. Chuck Clark's a hell of a football player. I like him. Safety for the Ravens. Again, I haven't been able to find out what the compensation price is for him. I'll probably know that a little bit later on today. Tavarius Moore is a 5th rounder. He's a safety also for the 49ers. And Darrell Williams, running back, Cardinals. I haven't been able to find out. And again, these are just 4 dudes that I know of that Howie has reached out for and talked to some of the general managers. I will give you some insight now with the Cowboys. As you guys know, my relationship with the Cowboys is pretty strong, especially with the front office. And Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones are monitoring what's going on with the Eagles. And they see that they have to make counter moves. The Cowboys are in the market for a wide receiver right now. And Claypool with the Steelers could be on that list. They've contacted the Steelers, and they are trying to work a deal to try to get Claypool. Now, I don't believe that the Cowboys have the money or the resources to do it. What are they going to surrender? They're already wedged against the salary cap. They're going to have to make a B move. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to try to land on somebody and pray you get something out of them. The Cowboys just don't have a lot of lateral movement where they can move because of salary issues. This is something that's playing into the favor of the Cowboys. Look, the difference between the Dallas Cowboys right now is the quarterbacks. When you're in a position right now to potentially try to upgrade your football team and your roster, your quarterback's salary dictates what you can and can't do. When the Cowboys went out and paid him $42 million a year, it kind of handcuffs them a bit on what they can and can't do. The Eagles, on the other hand, you're paying your quarterback less than what you're paying Zach Pascal. Think about that. Think about the unbelievable position that the Philadelphia Eagles are in. And get this, I'm not even mentioning the 6-0 start. Your quarterback is out playing Dak Prescott. And you know what you're doing? You're saving $41 million of decision-making that Dallas can't make, that you can. You got $41 million worth of operating space. The Cowboys don't because they're paying that guy. And they're not getting the production out of that guy. I'll tell you this. The Buccaneer game and what I saw against the Lions so far, I have not been impressed with Dak Prescott. Plus, he's been injured again. Hey, man. The Eagles have the opportunity to continue to maneuver here. I believe they're like $4 million still under the salary cap. So they're still operating moves here, but now it's becoming limited unless you want to go out and you want to start restructuring contracts. Hey, would it shock you if you went out and you saw that restructuring of Lane Johnson's contract so they could try to get a little further under the cap so they can go up and get Kareem Hunt? Darrell Williams is cheaper. That's why they're looking at Darrell Williams. He fits in the cap. Remember, this is a chess game here. This is a chess game. Eagles need a punt returner and kick returner. Darrell Williams can do that for you, my friend. He can do that for you. Do you think the Cowboys can get to the NFC Championship game? Steve, I do. But they got to upgrade their offense. And they got to get better play out of Dak Prescott. They got to get better play out of him. Dak can't turn the football over, and CeeDee Lamb and him have to kick it up a gear. Or guess what? You're not going to continually win games playing defense. You're just not. You're not the Ravens defense. You know what I'm saying? You're not the Buccaneer defense here. You're good. And I do believe you're still the best defensive team in the NFL. But the Eagles have clearly closed that gap. You know, and people got their panties in a bind when I said the Cowboys are the number one defense in the league. They are. But here's the difference. The Cowboys may have the number one defense, but the number 26th offense. The Eagles have the number one offense in the NFC, and they got the number 2 defense. Shut up. Relax. Very seldom in league history do you have both units the best in the league. Very seldom. Most of the time, you're happy to be in the top 10 with one or the other. Well, we're the number one offense, the number one. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're not. But as a unit and as a roster, you're the best. Relax. This is about rosters now. Who can withstand the war of attrition? You're now in the part of the season where depth becomes an issue. You know, people were saying this yesterday, and they were doing this. Well, how about Andre Dillard and Jack Driscoll? Who in their right mind would trade Jack Driscoll, Andre Dillard, or even a Gardner issue right now when you know that those two people right there are your big security blankets? You know those guys are your security blankets. Okay? You know this. I know our internet's struggling a little bit again here. Hopefully it comes back again here too, so hang with us, guys. We appreciate you stepping in. Also, too, I'm going to talk about the impact of Robert Quinn. I had some great conversations with people when it came to Robert Quinn and it came to Quinn's impact on the NFL and what people are doing to him this year. So hang in there. Just want to tell you again, how he's working the phones. Thank you, guys, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, Popcorn. How he's working the phones. Wouldn't doubt if he's out there in search of a backup tight end, too. Okay? He's in the market looking for a backup tight end. I don't think Roquan Smith, how he wants to surrender that second-round pick. Bears won a number 2 for him. Okay? Bears won a number 2. Guys, please hit the like button. Thank you, Drew. I appreciate it. All right. God, a lot of great news. By the way, we didn't get to a bunch of stuff yesterday. Top 10 prospects for Howie next April. We'll take a look at the 2022 Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, week 8 of the National Football League. It tees up tonight. Boatload of stuff. Boatload of stuff. Again, my number one concern is coordinator for Robert Quinn. Okay? Gonna get to it. What do you guys make of him going after Christian McCaffrey? The only reason that the deal didn't get done is because Howie wanted to use one of the twos in 2024, or McCaffrey would be on the Eagles. What does that tell you? Tells me this. Howie Roseman is sold on Jalen Hurts. He is 100% sold on Jalen Hurts. And he believes he can win a Super Bowl this year. That conversation, again, not sitting here talking money about Jalen. The Eagles are sold. They're comfortable with him. Unless something changes on the way to the finish line this year. And by the way, I don't think he has to win a playoff game or get to the NFC title game. I think he's played well enough because look at what they're doing right now. You got 11 games left. You got 11 ball games. And they're talking about moving 2s, 1s, 4s. They were going to move a 2 for McCaffrey. They called Carolina for Brian Burns. One of the first calls that was made as they got closer to the trading deadline was for Brian Burns. But other teams stepped up and offered more. There's teams out there offering 2 1s for him. Howie's not giving 2. He probably bailed on that. That's why he landed on Robert Quinn. He's like, oh, no, not for me. It's too rich. 24-year-old kid, I don't know if that's too rich. A 32 and a 3 for that kid? But then again, other teams parachuted in and are willing to give 2 1s. Carolina needs draft choices. They want to get a quarterback too. They're going to get one of those quarterbacks that's going into the 2023 April draft. Okay? And this is a prime example, guys, of what happens when you're making these calls. Teams just outbid you. Look at San Francisco. San Francisco wanted Matthew Stafford. That's why when I throw something out on Twitter that I'm hearing that Matthew Stafford, which turned out to be true, the 49ers inquired to Detroit about Matthew Stafford. What happened? The Rams outbid him in the end. The Rams came in and outbid him. They outbid him. So it happens that's why you wait to the very end and you get closer to November 1st. Okay? The only move that means they're sold on Hurts as a franchise quarterback is if they start giving up first-round picks. JM, they offered a first-rounder up for Brian Burns. I just said that. They offered to give up a 1. They offered to give up a 2 for McCaffrey. Okay? Edge rusher, running back. And I say safety. That's what Howie is going to land. His next move before November 1 is either going to be a running back or safety. Mark my words. Mark my words. Okay? Mark my words. He couldn't get McCaffrey, so now he's after Hunt and the kid from the Arizona Cardinals. He couldn't get Burns, so he landed on Quinn for a 4. Is that a Super Bowl move? Yet to be determined. Yet to be determined if that's a Super Bowl move. I agree, Willie. In Howie's mind, I do believe that he's pushed the chips in. I do. I do believe it. Nationally, we didn't get a chance to talk to Jason Cole, so that'll be in hour number 3. We're also going to try to hook up with John McMullen. He's at Eagle practice. Keep giving your comments here. All right, I want to throw this at you now. What do you think the impact that Robert Quinn will have as he now is a Philadelphia Eagle? By the way, I talked to Butch Davis, who recruited him at Carolina. He played for Butch. Butch Davis was the head coach of UNC when he recruited him. And I'm going to give you some insight on Robert Quinn. Now, you got to remember something about Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn and the dealings that they had with trying to recruit him is one of the reasons why Butch Davis and many of those people that were in that building were fired because why? Illegal recruiting. This guy was a sought-after kid. Now, he even has a heart condition. That didn't sway Butch. Medical people told him. They were always monitoring it. Butch says this kid is a great football player. And he still got gas in the gas can. Butch Davis talks to Robert Quinn all the time. I'm having Butch try to get in touch with Robert Quinn so we can have him on the program too. But he says he was a force at UNC. He was a great football player. Tenacity. Everything you want in a football guy. And when you look at the numbers and you look at what has happened to him this year, the bottom line with him is that he was the most double-teamed guy in the National Football League, according to NFL stats. They didn't have Khalil Mack on the other side. Okay? They didn't have Mack on the other side. Now you got a pass rusher on the other side. I expect his production to go up exponentially here now in Philly. I think you're going to see last year's Robert Quinn now have an impact on the Eagle defense and close that gap between DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons even more. That defensive line in Chicago is atrocious. And when you got rid of Khalil Mack and went to the Chargers, there was nobody to protect him. You're doubling and running away from him. You're doubling and running away from him. That's the problem that you had in Chicago. That's why you see limited numbers. You see limited numbers because there was nobody else on that defensive line. Okay? There was just nobody else on that D-line. Guys, I appreciate it. Please hang in there. The internet's going in and out a little bit on us here. So we expect it to come back here in a second. I got you, man. Hang in there. Gannon said that Quinn is not going to back up safety. Thank you. Bottom line, I think he's going to have a massive impact. Bottom line, I don't know how Gannon's going to use him. That'll be my major issue, is watching how they use him. Are they going to use him more on first down personnel? Are you going to start him? Who loses reps? To me, I would open it up. Whoever has the most production is going to be my starter. That's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. But you got to hand it to Howie here, man. 4th round pick, and the majority of the money is being picked up. It's a salary dump by Chicago. Plus, you know what I really think? Can I tell you? I really think the Chicago Bears wanted to send him to a place because they had great respect for him in Chicago. And he was a great teammate. You know, when you see somebody being sent to the Philadelphia Eagles like that, or a winning operation, that traditionally means that they have great respect for you and how you conducted yourself. Okay? Eagles can't wait for Gannon. Screws the pooch on this season. I don't think they want him to fail. Jesus, who would want the coach to fail? Nobody wants to. By the way, I say this about Gannon. I don't want him to fail. Why would I want him to fail? Brian says, hey, Dan, you're all over the place on Twitter. Eagles win the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. And Ravens won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. That's not all over the place. As a matter of fact, it's been one of the most consistent things that I have said since March. Oh, by the way, I didn't say win Super Bowl. I said get beat in the Super Bowl by the Bills. I said get beat. I didn't say win. I said get to, by the way, Brian. That's been actually one of the most consistent things that I've said here, is that the Eagles will make it to the Super Bowl and win the NFC since March. Go back and watch it. Brian, you said Eagles won't win the Super Bowl with Hurts. I did. I said the Eagles will get beat by the Bills. And I've been saying that since March. Anything else? Oh, I think the team, if you land Kareem Hunt or Alvin Kamara, that thing gets closer. That thing gets closer. Absolutely. But he's not good enough to beat Josh Allen. With Josh Allen, you need another component. You need to have more talent on your offense to beat the Bills than what the Bills need, because the quarterback's better. And by the way, I'm not talking about, well, it's the second year. I'm talking about today. Today, Jalen Hurts can't beat Josh Allen. Not happening. Not happening. Now, you add Alvin Kamara to the conversation, now we're talking difference. Because then you got weapons everywhere. Kamara, AJ. Bills don't have this. Goddard, Devontae. The ability to run the ball RPO. Okay? Your defense will get takeaways. That's always a hit or miss stat. It's always a hit or miss stat. I wonder if any team has ever led the NFL in takeaways 2 years in a row. I've actually never seen that. Dallas is rumored to get DJ Moore. How are they paying for him? With what money? The Cowboys have no room on their cap to do something. They'd have to restructure Dak's deal today to try to make a move. They got to. What, you're going to give Dak Prescott more guaranteed money when you're not sold that Dak Prescott's the guy? Even though you're overpaying him? So you're overpaying him and you want to give him more money. I'm not saying that that's what you would do, but that's the conventional thinking. Well, Dallas has to make a move now because what Philadelphia is doing. Really? So you're going to give a guy who's not playing as good of football as Jalen Hurts, who's making 1.4, you're going to give that guy more guaranteed money? I'm not. Big Seals, what weapon do the Bills have other than Allen and Diggs? That's all they need, dude. That's all they need. Dude, Allen is superior to Jalen. I don't think you're understanding the gap. Well, give Jalen 3 more years. Okay, I'm talking today. October 27th, 2022. Not some fantasy conversation. Today, he's nowhere near Allen. He's nowhere near Allen. And you know this. Do you agree that defense wins championships? Not in today's NFL, not any longer. I think it's harder to play defense today than it's ever been. Shit, I don't even know what a sack is, Forte. I have no idea what even a sack is. No idea. So Diggs is better than Jefferson? No. He's as good as A.J. Brown. So we can compete. We can compete. Yeah, you're not going to beat them, but you can compete. Steven, Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow are all head and heels and shoulders above the rest of the league right now. Correct. That's the point. And it's no shade. By the way, I got Jalen Hurts third right now in the MVP conversation. It's no slant on him. He got him as the 4th best quarterback in the league behind Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. Jesus criminy. Your guy's gone from being like in the 20s to 4th. Lighten up. Lighten up. You got the 4th, get this. You got the 4th best quarterback. You got the best offense in the NFC. You got the 2nd best defense, and you're bitching? Oh, Sills doesn't think we're number 1 on defense. Dude, shut up. You sound idiotic and childish. There's very few complete teams in the league. Eagles are one of them. And by the way, Jalen's play, once again, and one thing you're dead on right about, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles haven't played anybody. Shit, Brady played nobody for 20 years in the AFC East. You know, I've been kind of jabbing you a little bit on that they haven't really played anybody. Well, who the hell did Brady play for 20 years in the East? The Jets? The shitty Dolphins? Who did they play? Okay? We have the best quarterback. No, you don't. Someone tags Hurts so he can hear this himself. He needs to hear it. What, he's not better than Burrow, Mahomes, and Allen? Not a problem. Not a problem. If you want to send it COD. Who has anyone played this season? Correct, Steven. Jalen Hurts has outplayed Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Their offense is better. Brady's O-line, wouldn't shock me if the Bucs get beat tonight. Drew says Hurts wouldn't care. I don't know. His mom comes on all the time to watch what we say. Respect, Mrs. Hurts. Respect. Your son's really playing great. Jalen Hurts' mom comes to our show. We pretty much know that because I get tweeted at with it. His mom comes to our show every day. So obviously she goes back and tells him. I don't know. What do you think? She's actually said hi a couple times on the program. Yeah, Dominique, I know you don't like to hear that, but Jalen Hurts' mom watches the show. She's a fan of the show, actually. And at the end of the day, I guarantee I'm probably going to get, I told you so. Hurts is not elite. He's unique. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Appreciate it. Where's your Hurts? Richard, Big Sills ain't wearing that hat until we actually play a season. We played 6 games, not a season. Okay? Drew says he doesn't see. Drew, Drew, they may listen. I never said it bothers them. You added that to my comment. I never said it bugged them. Okay? Hurts is beyond delete. Okay. So there are your names. Howie's working the phones, man. He really is. By the way, I do want to hit on the top 10 NFL prospects and where Howie Roseman can go with those first-round picks in April. We got a list of them here. They were just handed to us here. And we got it yesterday. Bledsoe sent us this top 10 list of the best players. And currently right now, the Eagles have the 4th pick. Okay? Would they parlay that down? Would they move down? Would they take one of these players? We'll do that here in a minute here, too. We're going to get to it. Joshua says, Sills, Robert Quinn is double-teamed the most in the National Football League. That's why I think Howie, when he looked at only 1 sack, and I had to do some diving into it, he was the most double-teamed guy so far this season. Absolutely. I expect that number to go up big time. And I expect the impact to be on Hassan Reddick pretty big. Reddick is also going to be a factor now, too, because you got another guy on the other side. Josh Sweat without cutting it. He's not cutting it as a pass rusher. He is not an every-down D lineman that we hoped he would be. You know, I was hoping that he would turn into an every-down defensive lineman. Josh Sweat is not turning into an every-down defensive lineman. Okay? He's not. I do believe Quinn is going to eat, too. Quinn gives him depth. Yeah, but Danny, I also think that he also gives him talent. You know what I'm saying? Dude, Robert Quinn can play still. He's a professional pass rusher. He's a guy who, if you have another person on the other side, again, my question's going to be Dan Quinn. Okay? It's going to be Dan Quinn. Joshua, Sweat has underperformed. I totally believe he has. Been saying it about Josh Sweat. Dude, he's got to pick his game up. And that's why they made a move for defensive end. Would they make a move for another edge rusher? I think they feel comfortable with this move. By the way, man, what are they paying on this deal? $771 or something like that I saw? $770,000 or something like that. Some crazy number, right? Wow, man, what a steal. And it's a rental. So you know what Howie did? Hey, am I okay giving up a fourth rounder for a rental? He said yes. That's a championship move. Watch this. I don't know if it pans out. I just know this. Good for him for trying. Dude, I love general managers that just do this kind of shit. And they just go about their business going, well, I'm not going to sit here on my hands when I'm this close. And everyone in the NFC sucks. Okay? Do you think we get Kamara? I think it's going to be a pretty good price tag to get Kamara out of New Orleans. And again, Mickey Loomis has already done a lot of bit. By the way, man, that's CJ. CJ, man, I don't know how New Orleans let that guy go because he is a very good football player and he brings an attitude. Ever since they have implemented CJ in the secondary of the Eagles, that Eagles has a whole different complexion back there, and they look like they're playing tough football back there, and there's an identity now. Between Bradbury, CJ, and Darius Slay, if I'm Howie Roseman, I don't want to disrupt that. I do not want to disrupt that. I want to add a safety. I want to add some depth back there. But to me, the secondary has been the storyline so far in the first 6 games for the Eagles. I agree. Avid, what a steal. That kid is a ball player. See, the idea when you're making moves like that, dude, you want a productive kid. He is. And the Bradbury deal, so you're telling me the New York Giants let that guy roll out of the building because you were bitching over $4 million? Boy, I'll tell you, if you kept Bradbury on that defense with the way New York is playing on defense, how did you let him just not? Who are you evaluating? You know, sometimes when you make those transitions from one organization to another, when you're firing Dave Gettleman and you're bringing other people in, sometimes guys, they fall through the cracks like that. I'll tell you something else too. CJ may have fell through the cracks too. Why? Dennis Allen, Sean Payton, all of that. You know, that it may have fallen through. If you notice, some of these teams that Howie has made moves with have been going through transition. Nick Sills, why does Quinn look 54? I don't give a shit what he looks like, as long as he's on top of a quarterback. Sills, the Eagles secondary is top 3 right now. Absolutely. I agree 100% with you on that. 100%. Okay? Imagine Quinn's energy from being on a winning. Absolutely important what you just said there. Absolutely. The energy now going from a shitty team like Chicago with no help on the other side to now you having a top flight opportunity to make it to the Super Bowl. Look what it did for Von Miller. Von Miller was running out of gas in Denver. He was running out of gas. Look what it did when they moved him to Los Angeles. All of a sudden, Aaron Donald picked his game up. All of a sudden, they started getting to the quarterback. Dude, he was a factor in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. So much so, it got him one more paycheck in Buffalo. Don't you think Robert Quinn is seeing the same stuff? Dude, if it was good for Von Miller, this guy's got 100-plus sacks himself. This guy's got 100 sacks in his career. He may be one of the more underappreciated pass rushers over the last decade. Look what it did for Von Miller. It rejuvenated his career. It rejuvenated his career so much so Look at what he signed for in Buffalo. Now, you can keep shitting on the pick all you want. People can keep shitting on Robert Quinn. I'm good with him. I had a great conversation once again with Butch Davis about him. He said, this guy's a player. And you have another guy like Butch said this. You got Hassan Reddick on the other side. You know what Butch said? I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up this year with 10 sacks. I was like, he's got one. He goes, Sills, I'm telling you, I would not be shocked if Robert Quinn ends up with 10 sacks this year. Dude, you get 10 sacks out of a fourth pick. Okay? You get 10 sacks out of a guy who you surrendered a fourth pick for, and you basically had to pay no money for. Jesus. Unbelievable. Dude, look at this. Kaiser White's a player. CJ's a player. Robert Quinn, I agreed. Let's see. Man, you've added players. Do you know how rare it is to like hit on everybody? He's hitting on everybody. He's totally hitting on everybody. I'm talking to GM. He's hitting on everybody. The starting 22, Brian, is insane because in a year where nobody has 22, it's remarkable. I want to show you this. Name me a team that has a better 22 than the Eagles, including Buffalo. Quarterback's a difference up there in Buffalo. Who's got a better 22? Chiefs don't. Chargers don't. Bucks don't. Maybe when healthy. Packers surely don't. Cowboys don't. I don't even know who's on the offense with the Cowboys outside of CD. Nobody. CD overrated. CD Lamb's a good player. He ain't what they think he is. I'm sorry. He's not. And Dak ain't who they think he is. They added Quinn for depth. It was a much-needed piece, says Skwansky. But dealing with a hamstring, you're one injury away from D-line going to crap. I don't know about that. I would say this to you, though. Fletcher and Hargrave have to pick up their game. They have to pick their game up. They're not playing great. I don't think they're playing great. I keep hearing people go, hey, Sills, the Eagles are 9th in sacks. Yeah, because they had 9 in one game. Fool's gold. Howie saw it. His actions speak to that. He knew it. I know some of you are out there going, well, we're 9th in sacks. Those are shitty stats again. You guys like throwing around. Even the general manager knew better. Even the GM knew better. CD and Dak are overrated like Irvin and Aikman. Yeah. It's always smart to hear someone say that when they dominated you and they dominated the NFL, winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Hey, JM, don't try to be that dumb sometimes on the show. Okay? It stops me from talking to you when you get that ignorant. They destroyed the Eagles, the triplets. They won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Overrated? You couldn't beat them. Oh, yeah, with their O-line. Well, then there's no excuse for you. Because you have basically the same O-line that Smith, Aikman, and Irvin had. You better win 3 and 4 years then, right? You got the O-line. I see. So Irvin, Aikman, and Smith, who are 3 Hall of Famers, are overrated. And you say it's their line. But when I say something about Jalen and AJ or Devontae, you say it's them and not the O-line. Got it. Bob says, Big Seals, gun to your head. You making a push for Roquan or Burns. I just think that Howie's not going to go there and surrender a one for Burns. I just don't. Okay? I just don't see him going, here's a one and then another one for a defensive end. I just can't see that. I just can't. Okay? Leo goes biased when you're talking about a team that won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Biased? Okay. yeah, I'm biased. Well, no, they won 3 Super Bowls. And by the way, I'm not a Cowboy fan. I'm no fan. I've told you this. I don't root for any team. I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, Jalen Hurts is now a Phillies fan, huh? When he was a lifelong Astros fan. That's a bullshit artist. Okay? And I get what he's doing, and I'm not really, it's not a thing for me. But don't be, hang in there. So your entire life, you're an Astros fan, like Jalen is. And all of a sudden now he's a Phillies fan. I'm not buying it, and I don't believe it. Okay? At least I tell you the truth. I'm not a fan of anybody. Not a fan of anybody. But Jalen's now a Phillies fan. Yeah, I play in Philly. So what? If you ever got dealt to where? The Packers. You're going to be a Brewer fan? Okay. Hey, you sound like Hillary Clinton. Big Dan, would you give up 2 first rounds for Parson? Dude, for Micah Parsons? I think you're going to need more than 2. Okay? I think you're going to need more than 2. Would you give 2 ones up for Micah? Yeah, okay, yeah. Bob, it's not, or Steven, it's not a big deal, man, that he's rooting out for the Phillies. I thought it was funny and how sometimes you get caught in that. That's why when people come here all the time, now you're an Eagle fan? No. I'm a fan of the Eagles. Fans. I've told you this. I like fan bases more than I like teams. You never get in trouble when you really start talking to people and you have dialogue. Dude, we've been talking for 2 years now. I've become friends with many of you now. Okay? But to sit there and go, hey, I outly root for the Eagles is a lie. But now Jalen he's a Phillies fan. Oh, okay, I got it. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, yeah, I got it. Willie goes, did you see Kelsey down that beer during the baseball game? Totally dope. Hey, by the way, I do believe Kelsey's a Phillies fan. I think that guy loves the city so much, man. I think he probably even roots for the Union. I don't root for soccer, but I guarantee you he roots for anything Philly, dude. Okay? Jalen isn't even a baseball guy. I don't think he cares for MLB. Leo, it was just something, again. I saw it, and I was like, oh, God. He fell into, you're playing in Philly, so now you got to root for everybody in Philly. No, you don't. People respect you more if you're just transparent with it, going like this. Hey, look, man, I got to be neutral in this one. That's how I would have done it. I would have went like this. I'm neutral, man. I was a diehard Astros fan. Now I'm playing in Philly. I can't root against the Phils. So get this. I'm going to sit this one out and just be a fan. Maybe that could have been better of an answer, but now he's a Phillies fan. It doesn't really go over, I can't think, with anybody. Yeah, the only reason it goes over is because he's 6-0. That dude was 2-4. They'd be like this. Get that bum out of here. He said he has love for both. Yeah, that's what Philly does. They like to root for 2 different teams. That's what all the fans in Philly does, right? Hey, fair comment. Philly's about to pay him $230 million. Hey, that's what I would say. Hey, man, Okay? I get it. Dude, it's not a thing. It's not a thing, but he got caught bullshitting a little bit. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Avid Seals, come on. You really think one Defensive Player of the Year and a push for Defensive Player of the Year, Warren Parsons for lottery picks? Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. What, you think you're going to get Michael Parsons for one first-rounder? You think if somebody called the Dallas Cowboys and goes, hey, here's one first-rounder, don't you think 31 teams would be calling the NFL, calling the Cowboys up going, hey, I'll give you my first-rounder for Michael Parsons. Hey, by the way, if you want to throw in two, I'll take them. Seriously, right? So what, you don't think Howie Roseman would give up the 32nd pick for Michael Parsons? Come on, man. Take a little more than that. Take a little bit more than that. Holy cow, man. Dude, my problem once again is going to be your D coordinator. My problem is going to be on how this guy uses him. Do you start him? Do you try to do everything you can to put him in? I start him. I start him. Or how about this? Dude, I give him 60%, 65% of the reps on 3rd and long this weekend. Can you imagine? You got an inexperienced quarterback in Pittsburgh. This is such a great opportunity for the Eagles to pad their stats. This is another padding of stats. Now, look, Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach. They're going to be ready to rock. They're going to play. They're not going to let go of the rope. Pittsburgh doesn't do that. Okay? Pittsburgh's going to play. And if you ain't ready to play coming out of the bye, you could be stunned a little bit, at least in the first half. I get Robert Quinn in the game as fast as I can. I put his ass in there. I would totally start him. Yeah, a big picking. There's no question he plays on Sunday. The question is, how much? Steven goes, Daniel has 12 touchdowns, more than Danny Jones has in one less game. Tomlin has that dark cloud after bringing in Flores. Not true. Brian Flores is a hell of a coach. Brian Flores is a hell of a coach. Hell of a coach. How many turnovers do you think we forced this week? I don't think they're going to play high turnover offense on Pittsburgh. They're going to try. Here, the only way Pittsburgh wins that game, if they keep the score down. Because they don't have any offensive output. Even though, hey, by the way, even though they may have had the steal of the draft at wide receiver and that guy Pickens from Georgia, I personally don't think that they're going to want to have that score as low as it could possibly be because it only gives them a chance to win that game. Only way it gives them a chance to win. Has Daniel Jones threw for 200 passing yards yet this season? David, no, but he was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week this week. See what David just said? Has he thrown for 200 yards? No, but he was named NFC Player of the Week. Yes, Daniel Jones, that guy. That guy in New York was named the NFC Player of the Week offensively. Sills, what's the word on Howie's next move? Leo, I wrote down 4 more names. We'll reset that as well, too, at the top here. But I also want to take a look. Hey, we got week 8 coming up. Also, the NFL's top 10 prospects. This is not where they're going to go. These are the 10 best players as of today that Howie could take a look at and where they're ranked. Right now, currently, the Eagles sit in a 4-hole. Okay? Eagles sit in a 4-hole. I think Daniel played pretty good last week, too. He threw for 207, ran for 107 last week. Touchdown rushing, touchdown passing. Maniac. Maggie. Haven't done that in a bit. Wait until he sees the Eagles. This is going to be a really interesting ball game coming out of the bye. I want to see how they how they handle themselves here coming out of the bye. They won't win this week. Will Anderson will fall to Philly. Yeah. Will Anderson fall to Philly? Will Anderson. All right, let's take a look at that. Hit the like button. Hour 2. National Football Show. Keep it here.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome to Pond Lee Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lee Hockey a call.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says, yes, you can. Jeff says, yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says, yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say, no, you can't, Jeff says, yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
Over the last 17 years, we've built a reputation of growing award-winning teams across the country. Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Hour 2, National Football Show. It's your boy Big Sills. Please hit the like button. I was asked to reset who Howie's looking at as of now. By the way, again, I want to make this very clear because people have gone over to my Twitter page and said that I'm reporting this, and I am, but I believe there's others too that he's looking at. Chuck Clark, safety, Ravens. I don't know what the compensation is there. Kareem Hunt with Andrew Berry, obviously the relationship. The Browns won a 3rd and a 5th. Tavarius Moore, 49ers, 2023 5th rounder. And Darrell Williams, running back, Cardinals, is who Howie Roseman has targeted from what we've been able to find out a little bit here. So those are just some of the guys. Do I think that he's made conversation to Mickey Loomis on Alvin Kamara? We said this 3 days ago, that'd be one of the first calls I made. What do you want to do in New Orleans? You need a quarterback. Did you see they're going to start Andy Dalton? So they've already given up on Jameis Winston. You're starting Andy Dalton. What does that tell you? They need draft picks for next year. They need as many draft picks as they possibly can. Alvin Kamara could get you high draft quality picks. Andy Dalton is not the answer in New Orleans. I mean, Dennis Allen's got to be looking at this going, Jesus, I had a shitty quarterback when I was in Oakland with the Raiders. Now I got another one. They need to get a quarterback in the building. You're not going to do it with what you have now. Taysom Hill, Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston. That's going to turn the New Orleans Saints around. There's some players down there too. They may move to DT. I don't know. I don't believe that they'll move Marcus Latimer. But they got to start moving people. I mean, Andy Dalton wasn't the answer in Cincinnati. He did win 11 games a few years. They thought he was. Hey, they made it to the playoffs and won some games with him. They did. He wasn't horrible in Cincinnati. Kamara's last tweet, if you partake of what sucks, you are a sucky too. What does that mean? I think he's tired of the environment. He also said this, GT, that, he's tired of losing. I think that Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen have told him there's a potential we can move you. Either that or they've contacted his agent and told him that. I think it's going to take, he's 27 years old. How much tread does he have on the tires? Now, look, when you're making a trade for somebody like an Alvin Kamara, I would say this to the Saints. Hey, look, I'd like to see if we can make something happen here within reason. Every organization overvalues their players. Howie Roseman's notorious for that, overvaluing his guys. Look at how long he held on to Jalen Reagor. He still had some sort of notion that Jalen Reagor had some value, but when he finally had to make a move, there was no value for him. It's not a knock on Howie. Every general manager does that. Philly and Oz, thank you very much for being a new member. Thank you. Everybody overvalues their assets. You should. You absolutely should. Absolutely. But then when it comes down to cutting deals for Alvin Kamara, you go, look, the guy's 27. He's a pretty high volume salary guy. That's the kind of guy you would like on your team maybe 1 or 2 years. 28, I'd be all right with Alvin Kamara on my football team. So I try to build everything around Jalen Hurts. Then I try to get a duplicate player that matches his skill set, that's younger and cheaper. That's what you're doing. When you add a player like an Alvin Kamara, you bring him in, and what you do is you set the culture at that position. This is what we're looking for, a pass-catching running back. Not necessarily a guy that's going to be a 1,000-yard back, 800 rushing, 700 receiving. Brian Westbrook. He's like Brian Westbrook. He's a lot like Brian. Tough in between the tackles. Dude, there was like 5 years in a row he had 81 catches. Now, he had Drew Brees throwing him the ball. So, again, I mean, he don't have Drew Brees throwing him the ball. And by the way, those numbers will come down drastically in Philadelphia. But there'll be meaningful throws to him, which will actually put more tread on his tires. JM, that's another absolutely spectacular thing that you just said that nobody is bringing up about Alvin Kamara. That is wonderful. He is a spectacular pass protector. Do you know that that is one of the major reasons that many running backs, when they come out of college, they don't get playing time? Rashad Penny, it took him 3 years to learn blocking assignments in Seattle. That's why he didn't sniff the field. Wasn't that he couldn't run in between the tackles. He couldn't pick up blitzers. I'll tell you this, that kid in New York, he's underrated as a pass protector. Saquon Barkley's pretty good at it. He's a good pass protector, man. When I watch him on film and I watch him on the 22, Saquon Barkley, man, he's good in the pass game. And I'm not talking catching it. I'm talking about protecting the quarterback. He's pretty good at it. That's good stuff there, man. Kamara is a great, but see, when you got a guy like Drew Brees back there, and you got a guy like Brees, you got to protect him. Dude, one of the most important things that a running back can have, not just the fact that he's physically tough and he can run in between the tackles or he has good hands. Number one asset that an offensive coordinator wants is, because of the complex offenses that you have, you want to be able to know that this guy's got an ability to be able to go when it comes to audibles, that he can pick up pass protecting and he can pick up blitzing linebackers. If you can't pick up blitzing linebackers, you'll sit on the bench your whole entire career or you're out of the league. Especially in today's NFL. You know, back in my time, they gave you the ball 28 times. Now, you got to pass protect probably 20 times a game. Look at how many times Miles Sanders pass protects or whatever when it comes to the passing game, rollouts. Hen goes Sills, Hunt or Kamara? I'll take Kamara. I think Kamara's a better player. I think Kareem Hunt's a fine player. If you look at his first year with Andy Reid, 1,400 yards, led the NFL in rushing, caught a boatload of passes. He's very capable of it, but he hasn't been doing that in Cleveland because the majority of the touches go to Nick Chubb. To me, Kamara's the player that fits what Philly's doing. Now, here's the one thing you would say. Xander brings this up. Who would be a better red zone back? Hunt or Kamara? Hunt is the better red zone back. But who's going to help you more in the 20s, from 20 to 20? I think Kamara helps you. Personally, I like to have both of them. But you got Miles Sanders. So you're kind of with him. Who does Sanders? Sanders is not Kareem Hunt. And he's not Alvin Kamara. That's why they're going to let him walk. What you want is a Blunt and a Ajayi. That's what you want. You want that versatility. That's what you're looking for. I think that's what Howie's looking for. But he can't, because he can't move off of Sanders, who's making $2.5 million. And he's been effective. I mean, look, I don't want to dismiss anything Miles is doing. He's fourth in the NFL in rushing with 6 games. Obviously, some teams have played 7. We won a Super Bowl with 2 bruisers that no one wanted to tackle. Yeah, quite frankly, if you remember right, LeGarrette Blount, remember what he did? Remember how you got LeGarrette Blount? He totally, completely took a shit on the Steelers and quit. You guys remember that? Because I don't want no part of this. He quit on the Steelers. I know LeGarrette a little bit because he played in Tampa when he was down there. And I think like in 8 games, he had 1,000 yards rushing. Okay? And remember, the reason he didn't get drafted is because he knocked that guy out from Boise State. He was a good college football player at Oregon. I liked him. Tony, you know how he got back in the league? Tony Dungy stood up for him. Now, because his kid played at Oregon, Dungy's kid. And this Dungy's kid, who lived in Tampa, who I know, said, Dad, this guy's a good guy, man. He's a good guy. And I talked to Tony Dungy's kid. He goes, yeah, man, the kid said something stupid to him. He punched him in the face. He didn't get drafted over that. Got suspended, I think, for the rest of the year. They need a safety to get Jabril Peppers. I don't think Howie's making a move for Jabril Peppers. I think that's a little rich for him. I think he's looking for depth back there. Dude, I told you this. Do you guys remember when I said, got to give Marcus Epps an opportunity? All of a sudden now everyone's like, oh, yeah, I love Marcus Epps. I'm like, yeah, well, I would like to see this kid play more. I like him. I thought he played pretty well last year. I did. I thought he played well. I don't like how scumbag Gruden stole his Super Bowl. Tony Dungy was a very loyal man to Clyde Christensen. The Glazers wanted to fire Clyde Christensen as the offensive coordinator. Dungy said no. That's why they fired him. because they wanted more creativity in the offense. That's why they fired Tony Dungy. You forget this, John Gruden did make 22 different moves when he took that team over when they won the Super Bowl in his first year. I agree. I think Gruden's overrated. I think John's overrated. He did turn the Raiders around, but now the Raiders are turning back into what they were before John Gruden. Team already has a top 5 rusher. Eagles don't have a top 5 passer. Daniel, you're not a top 5 pass rushing team. I don't give a shit what those stats say. If you're leaning on the Washington Commander game, you're leaning on that stat game that you had, why would Howie make a move for an edge rusher then and surrender a 4th rounder if he thought that he had the move? Philip says, I was watching the interview with Chris Long, and he was saying they won the 17 Super Bowl because it was overloaded with edge rushers. Do you think we should look for another edge rusher? It's a great comment. The pass rusher that you want, though, man, dude, again, you're paying for a Ferrari, and you're surrendering a little bit of your future. With Robert Quinn, you're not really surrendering much of a future here. You know what I'm saying? You're not surrendering that. You're not. Medic Mike, Gruden is a personality. See, it happens to be this way, Mike. If you're on TV for a little bit, you're considered a superstar coach. Look at Urban Liar. Urban Liar will be back somewhere bullshitting families again about what a great man he is and how he looks out for women and how he's a wonderful guy and how he's a motivator of young men. And he'll put that bullshit out there because you know why? He's now on the Fox Sunday pregame show for college football. So he'll bullshit some family and some organization will sign him because you know why? They want to win. They'll put the morality in their pocket and they'll want to win. And that's why Urban Liar will get a job. There's guys like that. You see, most people will put their morality in their pocket because their pocketbook speaks to them more. They chase, you chase it. Joe Paterno. After a while, winning supersedes everything. Character, being a man, all of that. It's like a disease. Success is a disease. And if you're not level-headed with it, and even when you're on top, this is the one thing Hurts is doing exceptionally well. As great as everything is going in Philadelphia right now, he's kind of calming the waters with his personality. He's not getting too high. He's not getting too low. The excitement level for Hurts is not over the top, which is brilliant. Look at this shitty teammate in Green Bay. So he goes out and he starts calling out his players saying that guys should be having less reps. He goes on to Pat McAfee show. What's the problem with that? Jalen would never do that. What's the problem with that? What an absolute dick of a teammate. I would fight you in the locker room for that. Why couldn't you come to my face and tell me privately that? Why couldn't you look at me in the face as a man and say, you had a problem with my practice habits, me not producing? Why would you go on some sort of turds show and start talking about me like that? What a terrible teammate. It's a prime example of why he doesn't win enough. And I'm talking when it matters. He is an absolute asshole. Why would you do that? Is that really developing young talent around you and helping your young wide receivers by going publicly and saying, you suck and you shouldn't be playing? You know what his comment was? He goes like this. Nobody had a problem. They didn't say anything to me. No rookie or first-year guy is going to go to a legendary player like Aaron Rodgers and go like this. I got a problem with you. When you're a rookie, you're seen and not heard. What a jerk. This guy does not get it. It is so awful how he handles himself with his team. Let me tell you, man, there's no question that the Green Bay Packers, they must be doing, man. I just wish Jordan Love had worked out for us, or we would have moved off this jackass. Jalen Hurts would never. Do you think if Jalen Hurts had I'm sure Hurts has had a problem with something with somebody. Jalen's not going public and saying, you need to play better publicly on some show or on some sort of press conference or give you innuendo stuff. Man, I'll tell you one thing about these quarterbacks in the NFL today. Let me give you another one. Russell Wilson, dude, I get your old lady is a celebrity. You're not. You're an NFL quarterback. Act like it. Shades and the clothes and telling everybody now you're doing jumping jacks on the plane flight over to Europe. And shut up, guy. No wonder Pete Carroll moved off your ass because he kept you in line. Russell Wilson thinks he's a celebrity. I know NFL quarterbacks are celebrities. But you got to act still like a football player. If Russell Wilson went back to being a football player, it might help the Broncos out. Might help the Broncos. Jalen Hurts is a football player. That's what he is. Tom Brady's See, what's happened to Brady? He's not a football player this year. He kind of is. What's happened to Brady? Now what's happened to every man or some men going through family issues, family crisis. Why do you think Tiger Woods got stopped on chasing Jack Nicklaus's 18 majors down? Reality started to become reality to him. He was married. He had marital problems. He had problems like everybody else in the world. That's why Jack handled his life better. Jack Nicklaus handled his life better as a family man and was grounded. Tiger let it get ahead of him. And that's why Tiger won't chase Jack down. That's part of it. It's being grounded. That's why Brady's so brilliant. Brady, all these years, he's kept himself grounded. Never talked shit on teammates. Never did this. Never said anything nutty. Boy, being an NFL quarterback today, because you're under the microscope, so much more. This is why, I was telling you guys, I don't really think intangibles matter that much, but now I'm starting to see when I see a guy like Aaron Rodgers, not with any, I know why now Jalen Hurts is rapidly improving as a man and also as a football player. Because you know why? Jalen Hurts has seen it, done it, been there, faced adversity, faced success. Look at the gamuts of what Hurts has gone through in his career, his brief career. You imagine this, Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach in the history of the world, went to Jalen Hurts and said, you're not good enough to play at Alabama anymore. Or wait, I'll take that back. You're not good enough to start at Alabama anymore. Had his job taken from him. What did he do? He didn't run. I thought he was a great teammate for a year. Then he went to Oklahoma. Those guys all gravitated to him. Now everybody in Philly's gravitating to him. There's an innate thing inside that kid that people want to rally around him. That's why you see certain people that are the great leaders, military, politically, sports. Bill Russell wasn't better than Wilt Chamberlain, but they rallied around Russell because of the way Russell played the game and who he was as a man. Do you think Cowher is just a personality or a legit coach? I think Bill's a good coach. I think Sean Payton's overrated. He's got the same record postseason-wise as Mike McCarthy. What makes him any better? He had Drew Brees, too. Well, wait a minute. McCarthy had Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. Drew Brees, pretty good Hall of Fame quarterback, too. Sean Payton's overrated, but because he's on Fox now, he get an enormous job. Overhyped, overrated. I don't think Sean Payton's all that. We'll see. We'll see when he goes to another place if he doesn't turn into Belichick. Quarterbackless. And let's see if he wins. Are you aware of any validity to the Kamara Eagles trade rumors? Zach, I've been saying it for 3 days that I believe there's talks. I don't think that Howie's going to have to give up some big numbers for him. Okay? He's going to have to give up big numbers for him. And I'm talking draft picks, obviously. Hurts is also an underdog, like most people, and he's succeeding. Yeah, it's a great comment. You're right. Most people are underdogs in life. We're kind of all underdogs. People that make it, you know what I mean? We are. We're all underdogs. Life's the toughest opponent you'll ever play against, face in a fight or what have you, every day. Life's a tough one because you fight them every day. You know, when you play a team, you play them every Sunday. When you fight life, you fight them every morning when you wake up. Joseph says, I'd rather have Hunt than Kamara. I don't know, man. I think Kamara's more versatile. JM, Brady should have married a fat girl. I don't think that's in the cards for Brady. I don't think you'll see ever anything fat around Brady. Kareem Hunt's going to cost you, though, a third and a fifth. Kind of expensive. I'd rather have Kamara. I don't know. Oh, yeah, no doubt. I agree. Xander goes like this. Brady's going to have some sort of young smoke show. Did you see what Giselle supposedly, according to Page 6, she put an ultimatum out there. Either you spend more time with your family or I'm gone for good. I don't know, man. Hey, I never get involved in people's marriages. I don't care. It's nothing to do with me. What's in the best interest for both people. I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm a sports guy. And I don't pretend to be here. Don't you love the guys who are like Bayless and them guys? This guy here, you know, because, hey, I don't hate Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers didn't take the vaccination. I don't like Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is just a shitty teammate. Yeah, I think the guys should really patch it up, you know, go to marriage count. Yeah, okay, man. I got enough to do with my own marriage of 33 years, thank you. Can you imagine that? Big Steel's been married 33 years. Wow. What a death sentence. I love you, honey. Oh, man. Oh, but on to me, man. Oh, God. I want to get to the top 10 NFL prospects here. I want to do this here because I think this is something that Howie is going to start looking at too as he makes the calls around the league as we get closer to November 1st. Jeremiah, I'm telling your wife, don't worry, dude. She tells me that same thing every day. Ugh. Here. Ugh. See, but my wife doesn't do that. She just tells me to go sit down. Matt goes, dude. Yeah. Doing mushrooms in the desert. I know. 33 years. I think your wife needs a show. No, because then I'd have to kill her. No, she knows too much dirt on me. Why do you think Cole comes on? You guys don't know. Jason Cole has so much dirt on me. Holy cow, man. I'd have to kill Jason Cole if he told you what he knew about me. I'd have to kill him. I'm not kidding. When he comes on in hour 3, I'll say this, man. I'll tell you what, he's the only reason that he comes on this program is because he's got dirt on me. Does your wife work sales? Jesse, she was my producer for 20 years when I was at Fox Sports Radio, KMBR 68 in San Francisco. She's now a soccer coach, and she gets started to get paid. My aunt's loving to hear that. Now you're in the doghouse at home. At Danny. Okay. Hey, let's do this now. These are the top 10 NFL prospects that Howie's going to be able to take a look at. Okay? Now, Bledsoe, just so you know, Bledsoe puts out their top 100 college football prospects. I think 328 or 350 kids go to the NFL combines in Indianapolis every year. And they go from that pool. Does my wife cook? My wife's one of the greatest cooks of all time. Look at me. Big sills. Do I look like a half a sandwich guy? Yeah. So these are the top 10 guys. Now look, I didn't want to work that hard and put 100 of them together. I may do a little bit more because I'd like to see who that 32 guy is here, but here we go. These are the rankings, the top 10 prospects. Now, again, this is not where they're going. This is who they are and where people look at them. And again, not my choice either. Number one, the number one prospect, according to Bledsoe. Now, just so you know, again, Bledsoe puts this list together. They hand it to the 32 teams. Then the 32 teams take that list. Then they start evaluating their own guys with the list. Okay? It's kind of like a starting point for all the teams. Okay? Because honestly, you think Howie Roseman sat around watching college football games on Saturday? You think that Nick Sirianni's sitting around watching college football on Saturday or watching game film with the next opponent he's playing? Those guys don't watch game film on college football kids. They don't do that until the offseason. And most of the time, your scouts have already put this hit list together. This is what's happened. The hit list has been put together. That's what this is. Okay. C.J. Stroud, Ohio State, 6'3", 220. Is the number one NFL prospect for next April. You know what my thoughts are on Ohio State quarterbacks. I don't believe they've ever produced one or will ever. But Stroud is the number one kid ranked right now. If you were to hold the NFL draft, he'd probably go number one. Number two, again, here's a problem here a little bit with size, but today's NFL is different. You'll like this, Xander. Bryce Young is number two. 6 foot 198. Size is an issue. Health is an issue for him. Now we're starting to get closer to the Eagles pick at 4. As of now, the Saints pick. I worry about little Bryce too. I'll tell you what. If you had to tell me, if you had 60 minutes of a football game and everything was even, and you had to pick between Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud to win a game, I thought Stroud struggled a little bit last week when I watched him. I don't think he looked all that hot. And plus, I think Bryce plays against better competition. I'd take Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. I just think he's a better quarterback, but he's littler. I mean, he's 3 inches shorter. And he's about 25 pounds lighter. I don't know, That's something you got to look at too. Being durable. Number 3 is Will Anderson, Bama. Listen to this kid. Does he remind you somebody that Howie made a call for? Listen to this. 6'4", 245. Well, the kid Brian Burns is 6'5", 255. Okay? I mean, I'm not giving up the 4th pick, but you see what he's looking at here. Number 4, this would be the Eagles pick. Miles Murphy, Clemson, edge rusher, 6'5", 275. That's why he's not making the move for Burns. He's going to land on Anderson or this kid Murphy. These two guys are excellent. This kid Murphy can play. This kid Murphy's good, man. I talk to Dabo all the time about him. He's like, Dan, this kid's the best football defensive lineman I've had since I've been here. He thinks he's the best defensive pass rusher since he's been in Clemson. Number 5, Jalen Carter, Georgia, D-line, 6'3", 310. I don't believe that the Eagles would trade down to get him. They got their guy from Georgia. But I'll say this to you. Jalen Carter is more productive in college than what Jordan Davis was. Number 6, Peter Skornowski, Northwestern, OT, 6'4", 294. Best tackle in the draft. He's the best tackle in the draft. Number 7, I can't believe a running back is this highly rated. The kid Robinson, Bijan Robinson, Texas running back, 6', 221. Remember, these are the top 10 rated guys according to the NFL. That's a pretty high ranking for a running back. Top 10? When's the last guy that was in the top 10? Zeke? Number 8, Keely Ringo, Georgia, cornerback, 6'2", 205. Another baller at Georgia. I'll tell you one thing is for sure. Saban ain't getting them all anymore. He ain't getting them all. Okay? He's not getting them all. Number 9, Cam Smith, South Carolina cornerback, 6'1", 187. Damn good ball player. Look at all these SEC guys. And number 10, Jordan Addison, wide receiver USC. That's the kid from Pitt that transferred. 6', 175. So your top 10 players: CJ Stroud, Ohio State; Bryce Young, 2, Bama; Will Anderson, 3, Bama; number 4, Miles Murphy, Clemson; number 5, Jalen Carter, Georgia, D-line; number 6, Peter Skornowski, Northwestern, OT; number 7, Bijan Robinson, Texas, running back; number 8, Keely Ringo, Georgia, cornerback; number 9, Cam Smith, South Carolina cornerback, 6'1", 187; and Jordan Addison, USC wide receiver, 6', 175. Howie's got to look at that list and go like this. Man, do I gamble on Will Anderson or do I gamble on Brian Burns? What would you do? Would you gamble on Miles Murphy or Will Anderson, or would you take a guy that's already a proven kid at 24? What would you do? Me, I want the proven kid. But with that 4th pick, maybe these guys fall because of all the quarterbacks that are going to be in the April draft. See, personally, okay, Xander's like, Brian Burns, but I'm only giving you 1 first-round pick. I don't think that's going to be enough to get him. Not when Adam Schefter and Jay Glazer are saying teams are offering multiple ones for him. That's why you do this. I'll take my shot in the draft then to see what shakes out. Okay? Multiple low ones Eagles could offer the Saints pick. This is what I do. Because look, there's going to be more quarterbacks, that are going to be overvalued. Some of these guys are going to fall, like Miles Murphy. Anderson's not falling. He'll be the first position player, non-quarterback taken in the draft, which is probably going to be 3. Okay? Depending on how the season shakes out. Eagles could get lucky. Saints could continue to lose. If I were the Saints, I'd want to continue to lose. And if one of those guys aren't there, and how about this? Some of those guys maybe they fall down into 11 and 12. I'm taking that Saints pick then, and I'm parlaying it. I go down and I say this, hey, give me your 13th pick, and I'll give you the 4th pick. And that means you would have the 13th pick. You would have one more pick somewhere in the first round or maybe even next year. And you would still have your 32nd pick if you win the Super Bowl. What if you don't win the Super Bowl and you end up like the 15? See, to me, what's the difference between 32 and 28? Not much. Not much. 32 is like a top of the first round, top of the second round. If you pick 3, you picking a quarterback? Never. I don't need to right now. The kids today, but Yale. Today, big sales, Jamar Chase out 4 to 6 weeks, hip injury. Huge hit to the Bengals. You pay Burns, you're losing several key players. You are the free agency. You're not re-signing all these guys. By the way, a lot of that money's going to come up. You know what? Howie is going to be moving a lot this offseason. By the way, the team that you see right now it's not coming back. Especially if you have success. That team's not coming back. 2 tackles are gone. One of your linebackers is gone, maybe both. One of your corners, maybe 2. CJ and Bradbury are gone. You don't know that. You want to make an effort to sign those 2. That's not a given. How do you know CJ and them guys don't want to go on the open market and see what their market value is? Everybody's in the market for a corner. Remember, what are the paid positions in today's NFL? What are the paid positions? Corner, pass rusher, tackle, left, wide receiver, quarterback. The rest of them, maybe a tight end. That's kind of pass catching. The rest of the guys are all fill-in now. By the way, the Eagles paying $30 million for 2 tackles defensively. Bro, that's old school football. You got to get out of that. You can get away with the Milton Williamses of the world. You can pay those guys in the $7 million range, $6 million, $7 million range. Get the hell out of that $14, $15 million. There's not a tackle on your defense right now that is a $15 million guy. Completely over. I would say this to you. You're probably overpaying your 2 tackles $20 million. But that money comes off the books. And Howie's going to funnel that money towards the DBs. He's going to re-sign those 3 because those 3 are going to set the tone when it comes to your pass rush. When you got 3 corners back there and one guy playing in the slot or one guy playing like a nickel corner, CJ, and you got 3 guys back there, dude, that helps your pass rush immensely. The reason that the Eagle defense has improved so much this year, it's not from your front 4. It's because your back end. It's not your front 4, it's your back 4. Your back 4 is outplaying your front 4. And you got all your money tied up in your front 4. Hassan Reddick, Fletcher, Hardgrave. Look at the money you've got in that front 4 versus what you got in your back 4. And your back 4 is better. And I think the linebackers are benefiting from what's happening behind them as well. And by the way, I'm not saying that the guys on the front 4 are not playing well. I'm just saying they're not giving you the production that you're paying them for. You think Fletcher Cox is a $15 million DT? Not near it. You think Hardgrave's a $13 million DT? Not near it. You are getting players playing well, but not to that level. Bro, you've got to be, that's almost franchise that's almost franchise tag money. Those guys ain't playing that well. They're not playing well. They're playing decent. Hurts money is accounted for. No, it's not. Where? Where? How are you saying that? Hurts' money's accounted for. Bro, the NFL is a salary cap league. You lose players when you sign your quarterback. It's standard operating procedure around the league. When you sign your quarterback to a $45 million deal, you lose guys. You can't keep them all. You cannot keep them all. By the way, I'm not getting into a contract talks about Jalen. We're nowhere near that yet. We're absolutely nowhere near that. Okay? So when Howie's making these calls, he's got to look at it like this. He's got this list. And he goes like this. Okay, we're sitting at 4. Howie's got an idea. What are you people under some sort of like guys here that Howie doesn't have kind of a thought process on where he is? Remember something also. When you're in the 4 hole, you don't control your draft. You don't control your draft unless you have the first pick in the draft. Because you never know what falls to you or is not there. Remember something. The Cowboys fell into Micah Parsons. That wasn't, I love when I hear Cowboy fans going, oh, we had this guy targeted. No, you didn't. You had the DB, Surtain, targeted from Alabama. And he ended up going to Denver. That's the guy that the Cowboys were so set on that, get this, they wobbled so much they made a deal to trade down with the Eagles so that the Eagles could get Devontae. And then they land on Parsons. That wasn't strategy. That's luck. Now, they had him graded high. But remember something about Micah Parsons. He didn't play the COVID year. How did you know? You didn't. Yeah. Picking goes to cap increases. It was 187 last year. Okay, 205. Only goes up 25%. So you're adding another $25 million to the cap? That's not a lot to maneuver around with. When you're talking re-signing 14 free agents you have at the end of the year. Oh, and if you want to start addressing Jalen, you've got that giant number out there. Yeah, of course they didn't think he'd be that dominant. Damon says, Sills, tell me what you think. Will Kamara put us past the Bills? Because I honestly think so. Damon, I don't know if it puts you past the Bills, but I believe it puts you in that conversation. I really do. He's a good football player, and he can do a lot for an offense. And I think he still has tread marks, and I don't think he'd be asked to have a lot of plays compared to what he's doing right now and have to carry a lot of the mail in what he has to do in New Orleans. There's more versatile pieces in Philly. I mean, you got A.J. Brown to deal with. You have Devontae. You add Kamara to the mix. You see, you got to remember something. When you have players around you and you have people in your huddle like that, you may get limited targets, but your targets are going to be more value to the offense's production as you move forward. Like, you bring in a guy like Kareem Hunt. You bring Kareem Hunt in, Jalen Hurts, instead of running the ball 15 times, Jalen Hurts runs the ball 6 or 5, but he gets 60 yards, and they're meaningful 60 yards. Instead of having a guy just running for his life and having those Kirk Cousins hollow stats, you run with production and volume and importance. The one thing that the Eagles offense is doing right now, every offensive yard they put up matters. How many times do we watch teams and we watch other organizations and how they go about their business? How many teams do we see put up a shitload of stats and you go, really? And you're 2-6. Nobody's scared of the Bills? I don't think the Eagles are scared of anybody. Popcorn TV says Brian Dable may be a thorn for us. Could be. I think he's really doing a great job. He's your coach of the year so far. Sirianni second. Probably Carroll third. Rex says if the Saints pick his top 3, I'd call Seattle and say, give me your first and Denver's first. And they both high, and I take a cornerback in the top 15. If the Saints pick turns out top 3, I'd call Seattle and say, give me your first. And then you get to Seattle, and then Denver's pick because of the Russell Wilson deal, and take a cornerback in the top 15. Yeah, but I think they got their dude. That kid CJ's a young guy. Rex, he's a young dude. You're assuming then that either Bradbury or CJ is going to walk and want to get out in the open market. So you get Cam Smith from South Carolina or Ringo from Georgia. You put him on the other side of Slay. Good thinking. That's the way you think about it. You get Denver's pick that Seattle got for the Wilson deal. Yeah, but they're not. Hey, as good as Geno Smith's playing, they're not sticking with Geno Smith. I think they're going to take that. They're going to use that pick, and they're going to get a quarterback. They may trade up to get a quarterback too. Personally, I could see Pete getting a kid from Kentucky. He likes a kid from Kentucky, from what I'm hearing. If they keep playing, Howie will extend CJ and Bradbury. I think so too. But dude, Yale, that's $17 million per. If you're not in that 15 to 17 million, you're not getting those guys. Do you know that those guys are the number 1 and 2 corners? Bradbury and Slay. And CJ's having a hell of a year himself. And dude, I mean, you see, this is what Howie's going to do. Well, no, you played safety for us. And they're going to try to pay him as a safety. And he's going to go, no, we agreed when I came here I'd play safety. I'm actually a corner. That's what made me think that he'd want to get on the open market and get corner pay. CJ is not going to go into the contract negotiations with Howie Roseman as a cornerback. And if it is, a safety, if it is, he's going to walk. He wants to get paid as a corner, not a safety. The Saints pick is number 3. Looking for a quarterback. Yeah, I agree. I got you. Philly put more points on Dallas than Dallas could put on Detroit. Those are never fair comparisons. You don't know what each week is with injuries or anything in the NFL. That has no comparison. That's why when people say this, well, the Colts beat the Chiefs, this and that, you don't know what went on that week in injuries or anything. You have no idea what you're talking about with that. Different matchups every single week in the NFL. I saw the Bengals, or I saw Kansas City kick the shit out of New England. I saw them roll all the way and win a Super Bowl. Does it matter? Not really. Not in the landscape of things. That's why, a team may lose on a Saturday. I still would have them ranked high, even if you lost. Because I look at the overall body of work, not one week. This isn't a weekly list. You can't put weekly lists together in the NFL. That's why the 6-0 start that you guys have, look at it through a different lens. The 6-0 is not really the importance. It's how you're playing in that 6-0. Like, watch this. When I look at the 6-1 Vikings, they're winning close games. That team could be upset any week. I think they're decent. I don't think they're spectacular. I think they're good, but I don't think they're spectacular. I don't care. Someone goes, they're 6-1. Yeah, well, watch this. I look at Dallas. I don't see how Dallas scores over 24 points a game. I don't know how they do it. Okay, the Lions turning the ball over, dropping the ball on the goal line, what have you. Pick sixes. That's kind of why that score got shot up a little bit against Detroit, because they had picks and all this other shit. I don't know. Dallas's offense does not impress me. Their defense is good. It's the best defense in the league. Their offense, I would say this, man. I could probably name you 20 better offenses in the NFL than the Cowboys. That's not going to hang and cut it with the Eagles. That's not going to cut it. That's just not going to cut it. You can't go into a game against the Philadelphia Eagles if you have the number one defense and your offense blows. You're just not going to hang. You're going to have way more 3-and-outs, which means what? The Eagles are going to have way more opportunities on series, and they're going to score. And what makes the Eagles such a tough cover is that they can run the ball 13 plays, and Jalen Hurts, if he has to, can get out in open space and do a lot of damage. Bradbury won't be resigned. He's playing elite. We got too many holes on top of the Hurts extension. You got to start building through the draft. 2 top 15 picks on D. Corner. Why don't you go? Then how about this, Rex? Then why not do this? One of those picks, if you're going to go that way, why wouldn't I take those 2 picks and go get Roquan Smith, who's 24 years old? Or go get Brian Burns, who's 24. You added Roquan Smith and Brian Burns. There's nobody in this draft that's in their league. That's a proven asset. Roquan Smith and Brian Burns, you think there's anybody on this list maybe in 3 years? Roquan Smith is the Eagles don't have a better linebacker than him. Shit, the Eagles haven't had a better linebacker than Roquan Smith or as good since Jeremiah Trotter. Since Trotter. 85 goes Sills. I don't see the Pittsburgh wide receivers doing much, and their running back. I think their O-line is still in transition. Their quarterback play creates no play action. That's why Najee Harris is not really, looking like he did a year ago. Dude, Najee Harris is a 300-carry guy. Those guys are long gone. Those are back in the days of Eric Dickerson. And I think that O-line is getting better, but it's not good enough because the quarterback doesn't help him out. I think Pickens is good. I think Claypool is good. I think they got some wide receivers, but their quarterback play is killing that offense. Defense still to this day, in my opinion, I still think that defense has holes when it comes to stopping a run, even with Hayward in there. I agree. Eagles are ready now for a dynasty. Yeah, but Danny, once again, dynasty, I'd pump the brakes on that. Your football team that you have right now will be completely rebuilt next year. You got 14 free agents. How can you say dynasty? What you have to do, if I were the Eagles, I'd do everything that I can to keep that offense intact as long as I can. Because you're going to win games through that offense and how you've built it. The defense is going to be the harder task to build. Edge rusher, corner. Edge rusher, corner. You got to pay both of them top dollar at their... Okay, so wait a minute. So Rex, watch this. You're going to pay Bradbury $17.5. Then you're going to turn around and pay CJ $17. Okay? You're talking $35 million. Don't forget you got another guy you're paying $17 to. And Slay. That's $52 million in your backfield, in your back four. $52 million. Now, you're going to be able to move 30 of it off the two tackles. So you're going to have to replace your two tackles, Flex. And you've got it with Jordan Davis. See, look at how he thinks ahead here. This is great. Look at how he thought ahead. He knows he's losing Hargrave and Fletcher Cox this year. He knows it. What did he do? He drafted Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis looks like a player if he gets out of White Castle. Look at what he did with Juergens. He knows he's losing. By the way, you're gaining $8 million. You're gaining $8 million on your cap because Jason Kelsey's gone. So you get $38 million right there alone. And you're paying Juergens on a rookie deal. So look at how he's moved these pieces around. Okay? No longer am I paying $30 million for my tackles. I'm taking that $30 million. I'm applying it to my back four. If I'm going to pay those three guys, I would too. Then you've got to deal with your linebackers. Kaiser White, TJ Edwards. By the way, once again, I'm going to say this one more time about Nakobe Dean. I don't know. He looks like a shrimp to me. But Denzel Perriman's a small dude. There's small linebackers in the game. Sam Mills was a small linebacker. But he's not built like Sam. Sam was a fire hydrant. But once again, I say this about Nakobe. I don't know. Wawa Davis. I tell people what Wawas are out here in California. They have no idea. It's the Piggly Wigglies on the West Coast. Piggly Wigglies. Okay? Nobody knows what Wawa is. Okay? Nobody knows what Cumberland Farms is either. Sad day when Jason Kelsey leaves. Hey, boy, I don't think he's going to be that far away. I think they're going to keep him inside the organization as a consultant. Ray Lewis is 6'2.5", 6'3". He ain't short, dude. Seals, you never worried about your size? No, because I ran 4.8s and I bench pressed 600 pounds and I had a 30 vertical. I didn't have to worry about that shit. I was the strongest guy on the planet when I played against it. Nobody was stronger than me. And people, once I got to the NFL, they were in there. But in college, I never had to worry about that shit. I was the fastest, the quickest, and the strongest. 6'1.5". That's what Sapp is. Aaron Donald's the same. Aaron Donald's actually shorter than me. Yeah, I had a 33 vertical, ran 4.81, 291. Bench pressed 550, 540. Still a record today, Miami. But then that's 30 some years ago. And I ran 4.8s. Dude, 4.8s, my daughter beats me in 40s today. Okay? I was a wrestler. Yeah, right. Ray Lewis isn't 6'2". I've stood next to the guy and I know the guy. I promise you he's 6'2". He's not 6'2". Okay, I know the guy. He's 6'2", maybe a little above it. Ray's not 6'2". Really? Ray's 6'2", 255, actually. No, he was 250. And he, by the way, was a Super Bowl MVP. I'm 52, benching 490. Wow. Good for you, GT. You kidding me? I got to take a timeout. Holy shit. Hey, we may be catching up with John McMullen and Jason Cole to give us what's going on here and how this changes the landscape of the NFL. A lot of movement. By the way, I haven't even got to week 8 of the NFL. I want to get to that. We'll do that when we come out of the timeout. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome to Pond League Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond League Hockey a call.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says yes, you can. Jeff says yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say no, you can't, Jeff says yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
Over the last 17 years, we've built a reputation of growing award-winning teams across the country. Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Big Sales National Football Show, hour number 3. Boy, that Christmas Eve game between the Cowboys and the Eagles is going to be awful interesting. It's going to be awful interesting. We're going to reset everything here. Week 8 of the NFL. Some of the moves still that Howie might be making. We're going to reset that. We talked a little bit about Aaron. Hey, by the way, I think Nathaniel Hackett's job is on the line. That's what the rumors are now. He gets beat over the weekend, he could lose his gig. In season, first year. Wow. In season, unbelievable. What a disaster. I'll tell you this, the Denver Bronco ownership is not happy with Wilson or Nathaniel Hackett. Rex, I appreciate all the things you're doing today. Thank you so much, my friend. I go Miles Murphy and the best cornerback available after I trade out of the top 5. San Francisco used 3 ones to get into the top 3. We got to start getting rookie deals in there to pay Jalen, right? Right. That's brilliant thinking, Rex. That's exactly correct. That's why, Rex. Watch this. Hang on. You know, there's a part of me, though, that does this. Dude, I could get away with everyone else that's in the building right now. Those cornerbacks, though, are the essential factor in keeping that defense intact. If you've got those 3 DBs back there and you've got, hey, Nakobe Dean's important because if Nakobe Dean doesn't pan out, You're going to let loose Kaiser White or TJ Edwards? Would you let go of any of those guys right now after what you've seen so far with Nakobe Dean? That's a problem right now for me because you know why? Just like Jordan Davis, you're counting on him to take the burden off of the $30 million that the Eagles still owe Hargrave and Fletcher Cox for this last year. When you lose those two guys, they're going to go out and they're going to be gypsies. Now, Fletcher might take less money. He might take – one of those two guys might take a haircut. Okay? They might. But why would you when you can go in the open market and do what Dominic Sue did and turn yourself into a gypsy for a couple of years and get paid $10 or $11 million? Why would you do that? You wouldn't. Even though you love Philly, you might want to do that. GT, look at this. What's going on here? Kamara tweeted out a meme with Michael Jackson eating popcorn, something about to happen. Absolutely. We've been saying it for 3 days. Go get Kamara. And the conversations that we had with Mickey Loomis, he doesn't want to move him. But Kamara even said this morning, GT, okay? He even said this morning, I'm tired of losing. I think they'll hold Kamara to the beginning of next week. Plus Howie's already made what? Look at what Mickey Loomis and Howie have done together so far. All right? Watch this. Loomis wants to get some of that equity back. Remember that movie Draft Day? If I'm Mickey Loomis, I want to try to get some draft equity back from the Eagles. I'll give you Kamara. Give me those 2-2s, 2024. Give me that 32nd pick. No, I can't do that. It's way too much, okay? Give me those 2-2s then. I'll send you Kamara. Too rich. How about a 2 and a 5? How about a 2 and a 3, 23? I get a 3, and I get one of those 2s in 24 for Kamara. Now we're talking. That's high, though. Those are high picks. For a 27-year-old guy that Howie's got to go, how much can he be a factor for me? Got to get younger. Slate 31 also. AJ 25. A year, kicking next year. That's right. That's right, Rex. I told people that. Rex, they're not keeping A.J. Brown after next year. They're not keeping A.J. Brown after next year if you're paying Jalen Hurts $45 million. You're not. You're not. Devontae's key in his development as well. You got two players. Look at this. Jordan Davis is going to take care of a little bit of the DT issues you're going to have at the end of this year because you're going to put him on a rookie contract and he's going to start. You're praying that Kobe Dean does that. You're also praying that Devontae is going to do that for you too because you got that $25 million escalator that kicks in next year. Hey, he's a great player and all. But where are you getting all this money from? You don't have excess cash. There's not an unlimited credit card here. Rex, I appreciate what you've done today. Thank you, dude. How are you not keeping A.J. Brown? Well, simple. $25 million, $45 million. That's $70 million. You got $52 million in your DBs. That's $122 million for 5 players. You haven't even paid your O-line, your D-line, your linebackers, your depth, and your cap's going to be 208, 210 max from 187. Where you got 5 players that you want to pay 122 to. What do you mean, how are you not keeping AJ? $70 million in 2 players. 70 on offense. 52 with the 3 DBs. That's why what Rex says, you got to get a lot of guys on young deals. You pay corners, pass rushers, left tackles, wide receivers, pass catchers, and quarterbacks. The rest of them, dudes. Milton Williams of the world, next to a rookie contract, Jordan Davis, that fits. Rex is right. That fits. Robert Quinn's not going to cost you anything. God forbid the guy turns in 10 sacks. Then you got a dilemma. What are you going to do? Right? That's fantastic. Hey, Xander, do me a favor. Can you text Jason Cole and tell Jason to see if he can do it tomorrow for us? Okay? Please see if you can text him for me. See if we can do it tomorrow. That'd be great. John McMullen to join us from Eagle Camp at the bottom of the hour. Thank you, Xander. So John McMullen, bottom of the hour. He's been at Eagle Camp all day. So we'll get his spin. McMullen will be on at the bottom of the hour. Yeah, we'll push Cole till tomorrow. Get Kamara. Drew goes, I think next year's going to be a mess. I don't think mess, Drew. I think it's just moving the chess pieces around. Dicker says, I'm at the point I don't worry about the cap. That's somebody else's job. That's Howie's job. Just build a Super Bowl team. Shepard says, Hurts going to take $25 million just to keep AJ around. Howie has his work cut out for him. He does have his work cut out for him in the next 3 years to work out this cap because he's got to fit $45 million per. If Jalen is the guy, he's got to fit $45 million in. You got to fit $45 million. And if you want to keep AJ around, you got to keep $25 million in. You got to keep 40. You got to keep, look, you're going to have to keep $70 million put over here to the side because that's A.J. Brown and going to be Jalen Hurts. Now, it's an extension. He'll be on a rookie deal for one more season. He's got one more year on his deal. Then an escalator kicks in like it did for Mahomes in Kansas City. Yeah, that's right. That's right, TV. It would be an escalator, so you still have the – but here in TV, where Jalen will make the money next year will be in the signing bonus of the deal. You know what I'm saying? They'll give him the signing bonus. Then the base salary kicks in the following season. You're right. That's how it works. That's the new collective bargaining agreement. That's right, Tony. The cap will be around 211, 212 this year, I think. I'll find, you know what? I'll get it. The NFLPA will tell me that. I'll text them that. Say it's around 212. Following year, probably go up to 220. Goes up basically about $25 million every year. About 25% goes up. Plus the television contracts, the Amazon deal kicks in too. The ticket, appreciate it. Guys, please hit the like button. Thank you. So, again, let me reset it here. But John McMullen's going to join us at the bottom of the hour here. Chuck Clark, safety, Ravens. I don't have the compensation package on that yet. Kareem Hunt, a couple days of conversation between Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns, and Howie Roseman. 2023, third and a fifth for Kareem. Tavarius Moore, safety, 49ers, 2023, fifth rounder. And a new guy added to the room, Darrell Williams, running back, Cardinals. Now, as I said in the first hour, it's being reported that Howie did go after Christian McCaffrey. Now, him going after Christian McCaffrey, the Carolina Panthers didn't want any part of the 2024 draft. Howie offered up a couple of those second-round picks, and I think a fourth and something else for McCaffrey. And Carolina says, no, we want picks this coming year because obviously they're trying to get as many draft picks. And you got to remember something about the Carolina job. That thing doesn't look very – like if I'm Ken Dorsey, and I'm just using my friend as an example, offensive coordinator of the Bills. If I'm Ken Dorsey, say the Bills win the Super Bowl, and you bring down Ken Dorsey for an interview, the only thing that makes that thing attractive, that Carolina job, is this: the amount of money you'd give me, because it's not an attractive job. You have no quarterback in place. Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, you got to clean house with them dudes too. Get them out of there. Those guys are bust. That's not your future. That's actually what's holding you back. Are players like that on your roster? McCaffrey's so overrated? I wouldn't say that. I would say that Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, is just not a healthy kid. When he's healthy, he's a productive player. He didn't make $20 million because he's white. He made $20 million because he put stats up. Coaches would take it as their first coaching job. Why would I leave Buffalo for a job that's going to get me fired in 3 years and lose my value as an asset and that coach? And I can't pick a job where I want to go to make the maximum dollar with a better chance of winning. If I'm Ken Dorsey, why would I leave Josh Allen for $4 million more? I agreed. That's a big number compared to what he's making now. But why would he do that? It's a death sentence. See, the problem when you take a job like that, you're all automatically with a scarlet letter on you that you failed at a place. Rex says this: I'd have two deals on the table. For Hurts, he's not taking 35 to 38. Not happening. Dude, Clutch Sports represents him. And another for 40 to 45 a year. I'll tell him, like, choose wisely. Can't pay everybody. It's not his responsibility to cut deals for wide receivers, Rex. It's not his responsibility. Now, I get what you're doing. You're doing the Brady system. That's the Brady way. Do you know when people say it's the Patriots culture or it's the Patriot way? The Patriot way was taking pay cuts. There was nothing else other than that. Players taking pay cuts and not making max money on the market. That's what the Patriot way was. Brady never was the highest paid player in the history of the league because he reinvested, like Rex said. Absolutely, Rex. That's exactly what he did. And when he saw that the Patriots weren't reinvesting any longer in what they were doing, he pulled the ripcord and wanted out. It's exactly what happened. By the way, John McMullen, bottom of the hour, he's been at Eagle Camp. McCaffrey was injured a lot because he was the offense at Carolina. Yeah, they ran him in between the tackles, and he's not built like Brian Westbrook. Patriot way won Super Bowls? Yeah, well, you've got to have a quarterback that's not going to take max dollar. Brady's the only guy that does that, where he took haircuts. He's the only guy that what quarterback goes, yeah, you know what, I'll take $10 million less. Who did that? Name me a quarterback who did that. Wasn't Mahomes. He signed a $500 million contract. That's why they got rid of Tyreek Hill. Couldn't pay him. Couldn't pay him. Got to get younger, like Rex said. That's why Howie built this structure the way it is. The football team you see right now may not even remotely resemble it next year. But you're going to have a here. I'm going to tell you what Tony Dungy and Rich McKay told me when they built the Buccaneers. You have to have 5 core players on your football team. You'd like to have more. Who are the 5 core players, in your opinion, in Philadelphia right now? Jalen. Mulata. Dickerson. Devontae. Goddard. Lane's not a core guy. He's 36 years old. He's got 3 years left, max. Core guys are guys you're going to continue to build for the next 10 years. Lane Johnson's not a core guy. He's a core guy today. He's not a 3-year, 7-year core guy. Okay? He's not. How old is Lane? Lane's 32? You could put Lane in there. I thought he was older. 32, he's probably got 4 years. 4 years is an eternity in the NFL. I'll put Lane in there. I'll put Lane there. You're right. Josh Sweat? Absolutely not. I'd get rid of him in a minute if I could. For another quality player, he's not a third down player. He's not an every down defensive lineman. He's not an every down. I was hoping he would turn into that. Okay? Mulata, Dickerson, Devontae, Goddard, Lane, Jalen Hurts. I'm going to say AJ. He's 25. Highly paid, though. TJ Edwards? No. He's a linebacker. Howie doesn't think shit of linebackers. He thinks they're interchangeable parts. He thinks there's like spark plugs. Yeah, I was thinking of Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis, I agree. The Kobe Dean, no. Juergens, we don't know yet. Can't go there, you're hoping. Again, another hope, potential. I don't put potential people on this list. Who are your core guys? A.J. Brown, Jordan Davis, Jalen Hurts, Mulata, Dickerson, Devontae Smith, Goddard, and Lane. You build around these dudes. Okay? Xander would say that Davis, too, is still potential. I agree. Put a question mark next to Davis. Got to. So you fill in the gap. This is what the Rams do. Look at who the core guys are in Los Angeles. Stafford, Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp. Everybody else is interchangeable to them. They'll get younger and cheaper. Do you understand that half the league is undrafted free agents? You understand that, right? See, Xander's hitting on something. Team still needs a dominant edge rusher. And they're doing it with other people's draft choices here now, not really homegrown. So, look, I talked to Butch Davis again today about Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn is a quality kid. This guy's had a heart issue since Butch recruited him when he was at North Carolina. But Butch never shied away from the kid. You know, Butch went like this. Lawrence Taylor loved him. LT would go down to UNC and watch Robert Quinn play, and he adores the guy and says that he's maybe one of the most underrated pass rushers in the NFL. And if you look at NFL stats, the most doubled guy so far in the first 6 weeks of the NFL season has been Robert Quinn. I mean, look, this guy had Khalil Mack on the other side. Why do you think he had 18 and a half sacks? You get to roam free, you get to move him around, you get to do all kinds of shit with the guy. Outside of that, now you run away from him. That Bears D-line sucks, too. Roquan Smith, I know why he's crying. He's left by himself. Let me get to John McMullen, who's been at Eagle Camp. And, John, I want to get your thoughts on that. First, before we get to production on Robert Quinn, just your overall sense of what the move means, in your opinion, for the Eagles getting Robert Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the classic low risk, high reward move. Obviously, he's not having a good season this year, but he's 1 year removed from 18 and a half sacks. He's, I heard you mention you probably gave that Bears defensive front a little bit too much credit. It might be the worst in football. And he's getting double teamed all day. He gets double teamed more than Micah Parsons because they have nothing else. So you show up to play Chicago, and this is a long way away from Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks. And, when they were great, they're bottom feeding on the defensive line right now. So people show up and they say, well, all right, let's double team Robert Quinn. And he's not equipped to beat double teams at this stage of his career. I don't know if he ever was, but I will tell you this, he's never going to see a double team in Philadelphia. So all of a sudden, you got this guy with the tremendous bend around the edge and he's going to be a rotational player and they're going to come at you in waves. It looks good on paper. We'll see how it shakes out. I mean, this is, the championship window is open. So I talked about this with Jody this morning on Birds 365. I don't give a rat's ass about a fourth round pick in 2023 if I'm the Eagles. I mean, this thing is there for him. So, why not take a risk on Robert Quinn?
Does he play this weekend, you think, John?
Brandon thinks he's going to play. He was out there. He passed his physical. He was out at practice. If there's, if you think about who can play in an NFL game quickly, running back, maybe you give him a couple carries, and edge rusher, pin him back, go get the quarterback. That's one of the positions. So I could see him being out there with a package of plays. You saw how quickly San Francisco got Christian McCaffrey on the field, and he's a veteran player, very smart player. Robert Quinn's a veteran player, very smart player. I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be able to be out there for a limited, I wouldn't expect to see a lot of them, but a limited, if you look at how they were using Patrick Johnson as the fourth edge rusher, there's no reason you can't throw Robert Quinn out there for 10, 15 plays.
John, there's been a lot of conversation around the league as we get closer to November 1st here. And, yesterday we brought up Roquan Smith. We also brought up Robert Quinn right at the top of the program. That trade happened during our show yesterday. But in the process of talking to Jay Glazer and talking to Adam Schefter yesterday, the Eagles had contacted Carolina, not just for Brian Burns, but they had contacted for Christian McCaffrey. So it's not so much that they didn't land. I mean, obviously, part of the thing that stopped that deal with McCaffrey not going to the Eagles was they didn't want one of those twos from 2024. They want immediate impact, obviously, for the new head coach coming into the building there. So that wasn't going to work for them. Could you see them still, though, going into the market looking for Kareem Hunt? I mean, right now, what Andrew Berry's saying and what people around the league are saying is that 2023, a third rounder and a fifth rounder could possibly get you Kareem Hunt. Or would you hold out for a potential guy like Alvin Kamara, who is making a lot of noise down in New Orleans right now, looking like he may be moved?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Howie, it kind of amuses. Look, he's calling about everybody. So
yeah, that's right.
When
he's notorious for that, John.
Yeah,
he calls everyone.
Literally will call about everybody.
Yeah.
He wasn't serious about Christian McCaffrey, and I can tell you that because he offered a third-round pick. Well, Howie knows he's getting a second round. They're getting a second-round pick, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick. He's not even in the ballpark. So that I called it a non-offer offer. He likes to keep abreast on the market as a whole. So whenever you see these reports, it could be from anybody, from Adam Schefter on down, they'll put ... and the Eagles, because the Eagles are making the call. They're making the call. They're doing the due diligence. So it doesn't necessarily mean that much. Brian Burns, look, 2 first-round picks. They're not giving up 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns. Good player. But, that's just Carolina's smartly, if somebody meets that, they'll think about it. If they don't meet it, they're not going to think about it. And the Eagles are able to get an accomplished pass rusher, as we said, for a fourth-round pick. And a fourth-round pick, by the way, in Chicago's paying essentially the whole salary. They're paying the veteran minimum. So they don't even have to pay for it. Chicago's paying essentially for Robert Quinn to play for the Eagles. So that's the reason they went in that direction. As far as adding more people, it's pretty clear to me that Nick Sirianni really likes Miles Sanders, who's having a good season, but he's not a well-rounded running back. He doesn't catch the football out of the backfield. He's not the best pass protector in the world. I think Howie would like an upgrade, but here's where I would be cautious. With Jalen Hurts, you're not dumping the football off. So if you think about it, everybody says you need a receiver in the backfield. The Eagles were hoping Kenny Gainwell would step forward. You mentioned Alvin Kamara's great coming out of the backfield as a receiver. All right, but Jalen doesn't do that. And he doesn't do that because he's going to run the football. And I'd rather run it for 15 yards off schedule with Jalen Hurts than dump it off to a back that's going to get 10 yards or everybody understands the outlet receiver part of it. So I'm not sure the Eagles need that, but I do think Howie Roseman would like another running back next to Miles Sanders because it's got more to do with Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott than Miles Sanders. They don't like their depth at running back. They don't like their depth at safety. So if they're going to do something else, it's probably going to be at those 2 positions. But here's the problem, Dan. They've already given up their 4th, their 5th, and their 6th next year. So, you got to be real cautious, obviously, with first-round picks, but even second and third-round picks, and then they go down to the 7th round. So they got a big donut hole in the middle of next year's draft now because they've used all that capital. So that could make things a little bit more difficult. Now, player for player, Andre Dillard's still there. Does somebody want Andre Dillard? Can you work a player for player trade? That would be a possibility.
John, how about this? There's 14 free agents on this team next year. Your 2 tackles, potentially, you're going to bail on because there's $30 million there. Your back end, your back 4 now. Let's look at it this way, John. CJ's not going to want to be paid as a safety. He's going to want to be paid as a corner. You've got Bradbury, who's playing top flight football. You've got another guy on the other side making $15 million. Are you really going to put $50 million in 3 guys? That's what it's going to cost you to bring those guys back this year. Again, you're able to move, John, the money. Where I'm going with this is this could be a completely different looking team next year because of all these 1-year deals. Kaiser White's on a 1-year deal. TJ Edwards' deal's up.
Yeah.
I mean, your 2 tackles are up. You're going to be able to move that tackle money because, look, you're hoping Jordan Davis steps in. You can get away with Milton Williams. You have both of those guys, that money go over to the back end. Howie's really got a lot of work to do here in this coming offseason because, John, as you know, with success, people want to get paid with that. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
and you don't have the
want to
leverage.
run it back, but people want to get money for it, especially if you're on a 1-year deal. How do you think this thing is shaping up for, people talking about dynasty? And I'm like, wait a minute, man. You got a ton of free agents coming up this year.
Yeah, the whole defense is basically you got to make a decision on, literally, almost
everybody.
Yeah, and it's difficult. Howie's famous for getting these team-friendly extensions done early. Like he'd like to get TJ done early. He'd like to get Marcus Epps done early, I imagine. And it's a 6-0 team. That's not the time to negotiate. Unfortunately, it's like it's bad for a GM. It's good for everybody else, but it's bad for a GM because you're not getting the full discount if you're having a normal season. Like last year, they were a good team. They made the playoffs. They're able to get Jordan Mailata extended, team-friendly deal. They're able to get Avonte Maddox, Dallas Goedert, Josh Sweat done. All those players done. Good team. Now, if that happened this year, you can imagine what Jordan Mailata would cost.
Oh, jeez.
It's difficult. And there's certain guys that are going to bet on themselves. But, I think the Eagles are set up. You mentioned Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave. I think they're going to make a decision on one. They'll bring one back. They won't bring the other. And as you mentioned, they have depth with Jordan Davis and Milton Williams. Edge rusher, you have Josh Sweat. He's one of the few guys you have under contract. Brandon wants to play 50. Brandon's playing great, by the way.
Yeah.
He'll be willing to come back on sort of a team discount. Then Bradbury's the most interesting one to me because he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. He was forced to take the pay cut this year, but he's also got a little age on him. And I don't think a lot of people look at James Bradbury and say, that's a shutdown corner. That's a great second corner. But not a lot of teams have the first corner of Darius Slay. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be one to see how many teams want to go down the James Bradbury route. And that could be a difficult one. Look, Kaiser White's a good player, but you got Nakobe Dean ready to step in. And you mentioned CJ. I mean, he can say all he wants, what he wants to be paid like. He's going to be paid like a safety because he's playing safety. So, and he's a good player, but he's not a great player.
What about Miles Sanders, John? I mean, he's on pace for 1,400 yards. He looks like he's really, having himself a great year. Now, he's one-dimensional. Now, even though, I say that with respect to his first year where he had a boatload of catches his first year, and for whatever reason, they got away from that or he did or what happened. But do you think they're letting him walk out the building? I mean, you're talking about a guy that if he has 1,400 yards, you're going to look at a $5 million number here, $6 million number. You're not going to pay him $11 million what the tag is or 14, whatever the tag is.
No, they're not paying a running back.
Does he walk out the building?
I mean, how many teams are going to pay running backs that kind of money? Christian McCaffrey, I'm talking top of the line.
No way.
Christian, you have Derrick Henry, you have Zeke back in the day, you have Dalvin Cook.
I don't think he has a market.
No, he's not going to have that. That's what I'm saying. He's not going to have that type of market. The question is how high. He's playing very well. If he gets a big deal elsewhere, yeah, they're going to let him walk. I mean, they just don't believe in paying that position top of the market value. And they don't have it, Derek. I mean, Miles Sanders, as you said, he's having a great year from a rushing standpoint in his walk year. But he's not Derrick Henry. Everybody knows he's not Derrick Henry. He's not Dalvin Cook. Never mind Derrick Henry. He's not Christian McCaffrey when he's healthy. He's not Nick Chubb. He's not that type of running back. So it kind of depends on the market. And if the Eagles can get him at a cost-effective rate, Nick Sirianni loves him. But I get the feeling that Howie doesn't love him as much as Nick does. Now, he did when he was a rookie, as you mentioned, but I think he's kind of soured a little bit on Moss. And that's why you hear all these rumors about Kamara and Hunt. I mean, there's a reason for that.
Two last questions for you. All right, John, at the end of the year, the collective bargaining agreement allows you to start a conversation with your quarterback.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it as well. Because
it is,
because
do you believe right now, John, that they're willing to pay Jalen Hurts $45 million a year over 3 years?
Yeah, I don't know the number. I can tell you if I'm Nicole Lynn and that's Jalen's agent.
Clutch Sports.
If things go the way they're going, like mine, I started Kyler Murray money. That's where I start. Like I'm not
46-1.
Yeah, I'm not taking a penny less. Howie has this way of convincing players that, look, we gave you the opportunity, give us a little bit of a discount so we can build up around you, continue having the success. That's going to be his argument. But what the Eagles know, they're paying him a boatload of money. If he continues to play at this level, if the floor doesn't fall out, and I don't think it will, yeah, they know they're going to extend him. He's getting a boatload of money, and that factors into every decision as well because, look, the history is clear in this league. Russell Wilson in Seattle is probably the best recent example. The Seahawks won the Super Bowl, almost won another, should have won another when he was on his rookie deal. Then they had to pay him. And then the attrition starts on the back end of the roster. Same thing happening with the Eagles right now. They're paying the quarterback $1 million.
I know.
They have one of the best rosters in this league. Well, when they have to pay the quarterback, and that's coming, they'll have one more year because you can structure it that you can start the extension in 2024. But when it comes, you got to build a different way. And then the draft picks become more important.
That's exactly where I'm going on the final question here. Once he signs that deal or that extension, John, is that the end of A.J. Brown? Because we've seen this too, John. Very seldom do you keep a $45 million, $46 million quarterback and a $25 million wideout. You can look at the examples around the league. Kansas City got rid of Hill. Green Bay got rid of Devontae Adams. The restructuring, Cooper Kupp took less money. So did Stafford to keep those two in the building in Los Angeles. I mean, you can't keep them all, John.
Yeah, man, I think from that standpoint, it's more likely Devontae would be the guy on his second deal because, Jalen and AJ are so close. The question is you can't pay – you can pay one, especially with the explosion in salary cap. You can't pay two elite receivers. And remember, they have the tight end as well, who they've already paid, Dallas Goedert. So I would think it would be Devontae more likely not getting the second contract than AJ for two reasons. One, AJ's better, and he's closer to Jalen Hurts, but that's for down the road. Right now, you got to take advantage, and that's why Robert Quinn is here. You got to seize the moment when
John, your point, real quick here. That's how the Patriots built that dynasty, and that's how Seattle built that defense because Russell Wilson was on a third-round contract.
Yeah.
And do you remember this, John? Tavares Jackson was making more money than Russell Wilson for 2 years out in Seattle, and Brady was making $1 million, the league minimum, for 2 years as they built that roster around him. And I think that's, like you said, one of the reasons why they've built this team the way they have, because the kid's out playing everybody in the division, especially in the conference as well. John, great stuff as always, man. Don't forget, folks, Birds 365 each and every single morning with him and Jody. It is a great show. Those guys do a spectacular job. Thank you so much, John, for joining us. I appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
You got it. That is John McMullen, who covers the Eagles and does great work, and all of his stuff is on JAKIB Sports. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome to Pond Lee Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lee Hockey a call.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says yes, you can. Jeff says yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say no, you can't, Jeff says yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
Over the last 17 years, we've built a reputation of growing award-winning teams across the country. Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Got some more news for you tomorrow. Got some more news for you tomorrow. Just got a text message from Mickey Loomis. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. By the way, the Cowboys are panicking. Panicking. Here's why. Your quarterback is outplaying their quarterback. Your wide receiver is outplaying their wide receiver. Your O-line is outplaying their O-line. Your running game is outplaying their running game. Your coach is out-coaching them. To an extent, I think Mike's done a nice job. I think he's in conversation also for Coach of the Year. I mean, you lose Dak and you're still in the mix at 5-2. The only thing they can hang their hat on is their defense. They can't move like the Eagles can on what John just said because of the quarterback salary. Like I said, the most important thing right now, besides the play of Hurts. See, let me say this to you. If you're Jalen Hurts and you're Clutch Sports, You go to the Eagles and go like this. Well, I'm really glad that you've been able to build the football team up around me. I'm really glad. I'm really glad that you were able to do this based on my salary. It's the only reason I did. Hey, any general manager can look good when you have an endless checkbook. Now, I will give Howie credit that a lot of these guys are panning out and playing good. But it's because of, get this, Hurts has a double-edged sword going into negotiations. Not only am I playing well, but I'm on a rookie deal. And it's going to be an extension, which means I'm still going to be on a rookie contract. Obviously, the sign-up bonus is going to give me a lot of money. But that deal don't kick in until 2024. And you've got another year, actually, to continue this process. You're welcome. And we won the NFC. Dude, if that all happens like that, there is no question Jalen Hurts has played himself into that contract. If Robert Quinn pans out, that's because of Hurts. If Bradbury pans out, it's because of Hurts. If CJ pans out, it's because of Hurts. That contract that he's under right now, look at Xander. Can we get Kamara or not? I don't know yet. How about this? I'm willing to say this. It's more of a Saints issue. It's more of a Saints issue. Okay? Howie's called them on Alvin Kamara. Howie Roseman has called the New Orleans Saints about Alvin Kamara. That's a fact. Now, yeah, that's okay. Okay? He has. No, hang in there. Just saved a bunch of money on his car insurance by switching to Geico. It's Kamara or Hunt. Do you like Montgomery? I do. You're talking a running back from Iowa State who plays in Chicago, whose contract, by the way, but here's the problem with that. His contract is up at the end of the year. Okay? His deal's up. And again, it would be another rental for Montgomery. Are you going to renegotiate a contract with a running back right now you're not renegotiating with? So if you bring in Montgomery's contract is up at the end of the year with the Bears. Okay? So you're going to have two running backs in the building that their contracts are up and you're going to let them walk out and you're just going to give another draft choice up for them? Bears are going to want something kind of in the same room of fourth. Bears are going to have $125 million in cap. I know, man. Hey, they have got a shitload of money next year. Thank you, Maniac. I appreciate that, brother. Seals ain't done a top running list yet. No, not yet. We don't need to do that. Look, as you know, man, I talk to a boatload of guys because do you know what I traditionally trying to do? Like I'm trying to get these guys on the show. Hey, man, what are you doing with some of your players here? What are you doing with this kid Moore, safety with the Niners? We've taken some calls on him. That's all they say, these GMs. They don't go too much. I go, what are you looking for him? Anywhere between a 3 and a 5th. It's usually the bottom end one. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it, brother. 11 p.m. in the UK. Love the show, Sills. You guys are all tremendous, man. You guys are all fantastic. Well, it's Corona time. Wow, man. Hey, dude. This Howie Roseman dude, man, he's making it very, Howie's added some more excitement to the season, not just a 6-0 here. Holy shit, World Series tomorrow. Jalen Hurts' favorite team, the Astros. Jalen's, his favorite. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Is it the Astros or is it the Phillies? Well, wait a minute. Since it's $46.1 million, I don't blame him for being a Phillies fan. Hey, $46.1 million, I'm a Phillies fan. Hey, guys, thank you so much. Please hit the like button. We appreciate you guys coming aboard. Till tomorrow, 3 to 6 Eastern time. We'll see you on the flip side.